And 3, 2, 1. What is up, my veggies? My name is VTR, and welcome back to another video. And if you guys saw the channel last year, we did a video with me and Sam last year where we looked at all the movies we saw throughout the year. And we're gonna do that again
Yeah.
today. Yeah, last year we did it in Rec Room. This year I just wanted to just sit down and do it. So
It's the lazy year.
yep. So going off of, because Sam has his list, and we didn't actually. If you saw last year's video, we literally just looked through the Wikipedia and was like, okay, did you see this? Did you see
That
that?
was a horrible.
Yeah,
That was horrible idea. We didn't do any planning for that.
this year we actually have the stuff planned out,
You know
and
what we saw in theaters in 2022.
well, not just theaters. We got a few things that weren't theatrically released here.
Yeah, okay. The ones that came out in 2022. So we got the theater releases, the streaming releases, and the stuff that would have been released in the last 2 years that got pushed into this year.
All right,
So
and
it was a
so
big year.
so yeah, there's a lot of stuff this year, and I think next year is gonna have this year beat though. There's a lot of cool stuff coming out next year.
I mean, in the first week we got Megan. It's probably not going to be good, but it looks fun.
Yeah.
It looks like a fun movie.
So let's go ahead and get into this year's movies, because I think last year when we filmed this, it was actually we were already into the new year. I think when we actually filmed it. This year
It might have been.
we're actually filming it on the last day of 2022.
This is the last day.
All right. So our first movie is
You got me beat.
Scream 5.
Oh, you got that too, huh?
or just Scream.
They'll just scream, because that's what they do these days.
But the thing is, the next one's going to be called Scream 6. So why the heck did they not just call this one Scream 5?
I don't know if they thought it was going to take off as much as it did for them to. I think they had another 2 sequels planned.
I don't know.
You're telling me?
I don't know. Well, I think they announced that they had, after the movie came out, they confirmed 2 sequels. I don't know. I don't know what the whole details were.
Major. Should we put major spoilers ahead, or are we going to keep it light?
I think for each movie, we could probably give our general thoughts and then give our spoilers. Because most of these movies have been out for a pretty long while. And pretty much most of them, people, if they're going to see them, so they really wanted to see them, they would have seen them by now.
All right.
All
yeah,
right.
We'll put a spoiler tag then.
All right. So Scream was the very first movie I saw this year. Me being a massive grew up with the Scream franchise. I grew up with this franchise, and I straight up love this franchise. The first 2 are great. I don't like the third one. The fourth one's really good. And then this one is I think is probably maybe my second favorite next to the original. I think I don't know if I said.
That's a bold statement.
Because I don't like the third one. I think the way they took this movie direction, obviously you hit some familiar beats, but I also think it's been a long time since we've had a Scream movie, so they had to hit some familiar beats.
Been almost a decade.
So I feel like they had to reinverse people in this franchise again. They're like, yeah, this is what made you love. We're giving you some stuff that makes you remember why you love this franchise. We throw some surprises in here, some new stuff. And definitely I like that there's it's kind of a commentary on the whole requel thing, with I think that trend kind of really went into effect with Halloween 2018 was what really started everyone doing that. I know movies have done it in the past, but I feel like ever since Halloween 2018,
people have been say, look at Texas Chainsaw that rebooted itself
multiple times.
Multiple, yeah, too many.
Personally, I think this movie has fun kills. It has good emotional moments. It does have. I probably should have looked back, rewatched some of these before. But no, I mean,
yeah, it was a year ago.
But Scream, I have. Normally, Scream would be a movie that I would have already watched a couple times but I just didn't for some reason. But I really enjoyed this movie, and I think it is. I can't say much more without going into spoilers, so let's let Sam say his piece.
Oh, I saw this movie, like you said, at the beginning of the year, so it's been a little while, but I agree for the most part, other than I do put it ranked behind the second one. I'm not as close nostalgic wise to this franchise. I probably saw it in the last 5 years, the group of them. I go back to the first one a lot for rewatches. I don't see myself doing that with this movie, but there was some unique kills in it. There was a lot of commentary because they had a decade to work with for horror tropes and stuff.
Oh
Because
yeah.
things have changed quite a bit. So it was definitely time for it to come back. And I'm curious to see what they do with the next burst of movies on this one.
Uh,
And spoiler territory, I guess.
yeah. Let's get into the
Uh,
spoiler talk.
they killed off the best character.
Yeah, they killed off Dewey.
Dewey. Dewey was the best.
That Dewey is probably my favorite character of the
It
franchise.
changed a sisterhood into kind of like a group family.
Yeah, because like,
The,
don't get me wrong,
the
I love
sisterhood.
Sydney. I do love Sydney. She's obviously one of the most iconic horror final girls.
Sydney Prescott. Of course, I've got a guess.
But also that it's gonna, because I know we're gonna have Gail in the next one. They've already confirmed that she's gonna be in it. But we're not obviously not gonna have Dewey because he's dead.
Well, they could do a flashback
Well,
like they did
maybe,
with
maybe.
Billy.
Um, but and we know Sydney's not gonna be in it because there was some complications with the studio. But I think they're saying
That's a
that
biggie.
they want to bring her back for the final one. I don't know if that's because there is 2 sequels planned, I do believe. And we're like less than 3 months away from this next movie. It comes out in March, I believe.
Wow,
So
that is close.
yeah, and this movie did divert
Right?
my has kind of broke the January movie curse. Movies that release in January normally aren't good.
Typically, the early part of the year. We also got a second one here that was also a bold release, but it had been delayed quite a bit.
Okay, so I don't know if my next movie came out before yours did, or if your next movie. We both seen that one that's not next on your list, but I think this may have came out before. This one may have came out before because it came out on
I will
streaming.
consult
This came out
the
January.
list,
This
the
came
all-powerful list.
this came out January.
Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah, that came out January 14th.
Yeah, that's the next one.
Okay,
It came out
okay.
right after
All right,
stream.
I can talk about that one then. I saw that. So I got a funny story about this one too. So I watched it at home because obviously it didn't go to theaters. Um, then I think it was when I went and saw Jackass Forever. I think it was the same day I went to go see that. I had like a 2.5 hour wait till my movie started, and I didn't want to. So I was like, okay, what else is playing? And for Pete's sake, for some reason, even though this movie did not have a theatrical release, my theater was showing it. Like, I don't know if they had like some obligation to certain theaters to still be able to show it, but I saw it at home, but I needed something to watch. I was like, I didn't hate this movie, so I'll go watch it again in theaters. And personally, if you guys
Whoa. You saw it twice?
once at home, once in theaters.
Wow.
Um,
Keep in mind, this movie does not have Adam Sandler in it.
So if you guys saw my review for the original movie, I did not original. I haven't reviewed the original. I've only reviewed the third one. Saw my review for the third one, which was the last movie that came out. I did not like it. I was highly disappointed by it because I really like the first movie. I'm all right with the second one. But the third one was a huge disappointment for me. So I thought the comedy, they went way too cartoony, way too enough. None of the emotional moments really there, even though they tried to have them. And then the final act was just all over the place. I'm talking about the wrong movie. Talking about the third one instead of this one.
I mean, you got 4 movies. It's hard to avoid the franchise.
This one is actually I enjoyed more. And I thought the fact that Adam Sandler wasn't in it was really gonna be and he's not the only one that's not in it anymore. I think a lot of people were.
Oh yeah, they all kind of fell off over
I
through the
know,
movies though.
I
David Spade,
know. No,
Kevin,
David Spade's still in it.
David,
He plays the
really?
invisible guy, and Steve Buscemi's still in it. The only one that's also
Kevin
not
James.
Kevin James is not.
Oh, and Chris Rock. Is
Uh,
he in that?
no, Chris Rock wasn't in these movies. I don't think. No, no. Chris Rock was never in these movies. But
Okay.
the concept is what interests me. Because I do like the idea of turning Drac into a human. I like that. Wasn't too big on them turning Johnny into a monster. Because like a thought I always had in my head when I saw these movies was like, well, he's married to a vampire and he doesn't age like they do. So what that's gonna they never bring that up. And the idea of him turning into a monster. I'm like, oh, he's gonna turn into he's gonna turn into a vampire. No, he turns into this green monster thing that looks really I don't know, it's really cartoony. But overall, I did have more fun with this movie. I do think it's a fun time. That's why I didn't have a problem going to see it a second time on the big screen. By the way, when I saw that on the big screen, I was the only one in that theater.
Oh,
I was the only
that's not
one.
too
Well,
surprising.
because pretty much everyone probably
How
watched it at home.
and I mean it's a Hotel Transylvania. It's probably noon on a school day.
I don't remember. Oh, you're about to ask me something?
Uh, how good was the Adam Sandler impression? Because
Oh,
Drac was still a character.
oh, Brian Hall, which is a
Or did
YouTuber.
they go? Did they go with an impression? I
Uh,
guess.
he a lot of people said they couldn't even tell.
That's pretty good.
Me personally, I could tell in certain scenes, but then like for the most part, it just sounds like Drac. And so it's
But you
like,
did go into this movie knowing
yeah,
it
I
wasn't
knew,
Adam
and
Sandler.
that's probably why I knew more.
Otherwise, it probably would have been a big aha moment. Like, whoa, that wasn't Adam Sandler?
Yeah,
Sounded just like.
he did a really good job. And overall, I don't really think I need to go into spoilers with the Hotel Transylvania movie. If you're into these movies, you'll probably like this one. If you don't like any of them, this one's not going to convince you. All right, next movie, which I think we both saw this one.
Jackass Forever.
Yep. Uh,
First movie of February.
all right. Let's let you handle this one first.
Well, with Jackass Forever, they went big and went home on a few of these. They brought a couple of new cast members in. The fat guy was willing to do like anything. The chick, I don't know. They didn't have her do much. She got stung by a scorpion on the mouth. Johnny Knoxville got major brain injury on this one from getting headbutted by a bowl. It was just
Oh
lots of
yeah.
fun. There was definitely a lot of dick and balls, if you'll excuse my French.
There was a lot of that.
Uh, it was a rowdy. It was rowdy. But I had tons of fun. This was one of the best movies in the first half of the year. Like, we started it out pretty solid.
I agree.
Uh, there's not much to say about this one. There's no real
Yeah,
plot to it. It's just there was no Bam Margera. He wasn't able to get clean for this movie. That was part of the contract. None of these guys were really on dope or drinking or smoking anything, which is pretty heavy stuff.
but I still feel like for the most part they still had the energy from the other movies.
It felt like a Jackass movie, and it was. I would say it's better than the third one. I
Um,
enjoyed it more than the third one, and probably the first one. I did like the second one the most. That one has some
um,
killer gags.
all right, my thoughts on the movie. I think over me, I'm not attached to this franchise at all. I don't love it or anything, but I figured with this new one coming out, I might as well watch all the other ones. And we did. We did Sam was there. We did a whole binge
Yeah,
session of all the movies. And I guess I've never seen a Jackass movie. That's a
that was a first watch for some of those for me
um,
as well.
well, because I that's me saying it's not. I never watched one of the movies is a lie. I have seen Bad Grandpa. Granted, when it came out, I didn't know it was
Oh yeah,
I didn't know it was a
that's
Jackass
right.
movie. I didn't know when it came out when I saw it. Obviously, I didn't learn that till later. But me going into this, I had a lot of fun with it. And obviously, being a big fan, really thinking Bad Grandpa was a funny movie, getting that one scene of him in there. Obviously, there was a lot of there was more the stunts and everything with this one. Because obviously, when it was filmed, there was still restrictions and all that stuff, so they couldn't do as much as they wanted to. But I still think, for the most part, the movie is a fun ride, and I think everything is just I think it's just okay. I didn't
It
love
came together.
I didn't love the movie, but I did highly enjoy it. This stuff's not normally my cup of tea. Like slapstick is something as always, even with
It was
movies.
such a good theater experience. Everybody was
I do
laughing.
remember I do remember like me not wanting to touch my popcorn through a lot of this movie. All right, I think we're ready to move on to the next movie, which I don't know if it's okay. So you have one. We both saw the one movie that's coming up, but you saw this one on your list. I haven't seen, so I'll let you handle that
I guess that would be Moonfall, right?
one. Yep, I have not seen that. This one's all you.
It's pretty paper thin plot line wise. I loved Patrick Wilson in this. If you've ever seen The Grudge or the Conjuring movies, he's kind of the main faucet of those. Or the bird guy, or the owl from Watchmen. But it's your basic apocalypse disaster movie. Think San Andreas, 2012, Twister, Volcano. It was fun. It's a blockbuster. There were some really cool shots, but otherwise, I probably will never watch this movie again.
I
Most of the movies I listed off, I've never rewatched.
I heard it was pretty generic.
Yeah, it is. But there was some fun sequences. There were some pretty cool shots. The CG is on point. But most of these things I'm positively saying about this movie isn't the acting or the script. Okay, Patrick Wilson did a great job. He saved the movie for me. I like him as an actor. But yeah, not much to say about this one.
All right, I didn't
Nope,
see it.
I wouldn't recommend it.
It didn't interest me, so I skipped on it. So well, let's go ahead and move on to our next one, which we have both seen. I think you saw it before I did, or did I see it before you did?
It was pretty close together, but I ran the last one, so we'll have you start off with this one.
All right. Um. So, Uncharted. Me personally, when this movie was first announced, I was very interested. Now, keep in mind, I have not fully played through the Uncharted games. I've played through a good chunk of the first and second one. Yes, I have not finished either of them, but from what I have played, I got a pretty good idea of the characters and things like that. And so, I felt like I had enough to compare. Even though that was not my thought process going into this movie. I just thought it was fun. And also, so I know a lot of people don't like Tom Holland. I think he's oversaturated. Me
A
personally,
little bit, yeah.
I'm a big Tom Holland fan, even though like I've only seen a couple things he's been in, but I like his portrayal in things. Um, and everything I've seen him in, that's a lie. I was about to say everything I've seen him in, I like. I did not like Doolittle. He's in that movie. I did not like that movie.
Yeah, I heard that one was a stinker. Didn't
Um,
watch it, but
but anyway,
PR was nice.
overall, personally, for me, a lot of people were one problem a lot of people have the movie was when this did not feel like Nathan Drake. To me, from what I know about the character, it did feel like a version of Nathan Drake. I can understand some people didn't see it, but one person I can agree with Sully, played by Mark Wahlberg. I did not see Sully. I saw Mark Wahlberg through that whole
Pretty much
movie.
all his movies, it's usually
I'm like,
it's Mark. Not that that's a bad thing. I like Mark Wahlberg
well,
as an
it's
actor.
different when you're playing an established character, though.
Maybe it would have been different if they gave him the mustache at the beginning, but uh, I guess that's spoiler territory.
Yeah.
He gets a mustache at the end if you care about that kind of thing.
But overall, I do think this was a movie that had a lot of fun going on with it. I do think
The
the
action sequences
I
were
think this movie
amazing.
was like it had great cinematography. I think the movie was just over the moon fun. I think and there's some stuff straight out of the games. That
It's loose.
the plane scene, falling out of the plane and
I'm
all that,
falling out.
that's
Yeah.
straight out of the game. But I thought it was a lot of fun and I did enjoy there was a little times where like the villain was very weak to me. The villain was probably the weakest aspect of the movie. But when it comes to something like this, like the journey is what's the big thing, and that's what you want to follow, and that's what really hooks you in with this kind of movie. And I feel like the comedy at points worked, or at points it didn't. But that was overall, I think this was a fun time at the movies, and I would watch it again. I definitely would. I enjoyed most of this movie. There's some few nitpicks here and there. I don't think I've reviewed this yet. There's a lot of most of these movies I haven't reviewed on my channel yet because I really was really slacking on reviewing movies this year that came out. So, but we'll let Tom take over and say what he thought.
Well, I'll step in. So I've got more of a tie to the franchise. I played through all the games minus the last kind of extra bit they released without Nathan Drake. But they didn't follow. This is a retelling of Nathan Drake's story because canonically it couldn't really fit in with the games. I don't know if they originally wanted it to be connected, but they decided against it as the
Yeah,
film
I do remember hearing.
kept going on. Yeah, we discussed that. Tom Holland did a believable job as a young Nathan Drake, even with his American accent, which you can. I've never had a problem with it. I can't tell that he's doing an accent.
Neither
I
can
know that
I.
because of the interviews and stuff. There was some awesome action sequences. This was, like he said, it was a fun movie. There was some witty dialogue. Uh, it's kind of like a heist movie, but well, it starts out as a heist movie, but it's you get a lot of fun excuse me, treasure hunting and yeah, Mark Wahlberg's just Mark Wahlberg. They have a sequel plan lined up for this,
Oh, they do?
which I hope so. They ended it on a cliffhanger where they could lead into a sequel.
I'm not against a
I don't know if
sequel to
they've
this.
confirmed anything.
I'm not against a
Well, I mean,
sequel.
that was just the start of this story.
I could see them.
Character has a lot of growth.
Who did this? Who did this movie? Who was it? What studio was it?
It was a major studio. I think it would have been Sony,
Oh yeah,
PlayStation Pictures.
I actually do think they did a good, and I could see them trying to make this a franchise.
This isn't high art or
Oh
anything, but
no,
it is a
oh
fun
definitely wouldn't.
blockbuster.
Yeah, and I do see them
And
trying to. I can see them maybe making one more sequel, and if that one does
this could be
well,
a franchise, a trilogy.
they might.
It's one of the best treasure hunting adventure movies of the last bit. I mean, it's very
And
reminiscent of
it's
things like
also
Indiana Jones.
a pretty decent video game movie. We've been getting a lot of those recently.
They're working, yeah, they're definitely trying to appease the fans a little bit more while also being open to the broad audiences. I enjoyed that they had the original
Uh
actor
huh.
for Nathan Drake have a cameo, Nolan North on the beach.
Uh-huh.
They had a lot of clever nods in this movies to the fans. I, and if I had one gripe with this movie, is that they called Nathan Drake Nate Drake throughout the movie. It's minor, but
Yeah.
hey, it's a gripe I can have one.
I feel like
It
that
doesn't affect my enjoyment,
yeah.
but still.
All right, our next one is we both seen it. But I think we actually saw this way later after it came out.
Yeah, we
Uh
didn't get this one right out
no,
the gate.
I need to say this specifically a way to make sure because this is not the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's not Texas Chainsaw. This is Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
With the space, there's a
Yes,
space
there's a
in there.
space. Oh yes, because that was the one name of the movies too. Like it was really the naming for these reboots and requels for this franchise were really freaking weird. But yeah,
They yeah, they were all over
so
the
leading
place.
up to us watching this, we watched all the movies leading up to it. If you guys saw, I actually reviewed
That
all of them on the channel.
that's why we didn't watch it right off the
Um,
bat, because
yeah,
we wanted to watch all the other ones
yeah.
first.
So I reviewed every single movie from the franchise. Um, ooh, that was a burp. um, and I really, um, going into this, I had very low expectations because of the trailer. I really thought this was going to be. I had very low expectations. I really thought this movie was going to be too preachy, too. I don't know. I don't. I don't know if I want to use the word woke, but that's what I was worried about. And when I saw the movie, obviously, and this is something that we've got to understand because, like, a lot of people, this is like even in the 90s and the 80s had the stereotypes of teenagers and things like that for that time. These are the now teenage stereotypes. So it makes sense for them to go with some of this stuff. And it doesn't get to the cringe part as I thought it was going to. And I also try not
It comes dangerously close.
I try not to use the term cringe, especially because I try to keep in mind with these type of movies that like they're taking place in modern day and following people that are that would have those kind of mindsets and stuff like that. So it's understandable. For the most part, this is a very different Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. If you're expecting the family stuff and all that, you're not getting that. Me, I didn't want that again. I wanted something new. So that was something that why I actually really where I really liked this movie because we got something new. It was definitely more traditional slasher. Um but I definitely had a lot of fun. I do like his Leatherface's new design. It is not as I guess dirty would be a way to say. He's dirty. Don't get me wrong, but not as he is in some of the other films. Also, though, just overall in this movie, I had a good time. The kills are I know like the Texas Chainsaw franchise isn't really known for its elaborate kills and everything, but this movie they gave us some elaborate, especially that final kill at the end. We'll get to that when we get to the spoiler section. Um, that really shocked the heck out of me, and just
Yeah.
and normally there's not. I don't point out you're dumb. You shouldn't be acting that way because horror movie logic, blah blah blah. Me, I don't point that out very often because I understand is like it's a movie, and also you don't know how people's mindsets will be in that situation. There is one thing that I don't like that I really thought that's dumb, and I'll get to that when we get to the spoiler section. But overall, I enjoyed this movie, and I think it. I don't think it's great. I think it's all right. I don't remember what I gave it a rating of, but I did enjoy this movie for the most part. I had my issues with it. There were definitely some problems, but I did enjoy it for the most part. Tom?
Well, I'll go into this starting with the franchise here. Very tumultuous. That franchise goes all over the place, and I might say it's one of the funnest franchises I've binged. After watching the last two we did, those are getting kind of stale, kind of suck. That was at least fun. And funny enough, this is one of the best Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, in my opinion. Not because the other ones are borderline bad, but like this one holds up in regards to just being a horror movie. There's some great kills in there. You actually have a massacre. Uh, Gripe wise, some of the characters not they may not die as they should. A little bit of plot armor.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, we'll get to that.
Not the one it's not the main one, it's the other one that's ridiculous. You can at least well, anyway. Um, I really enjoyed this one. I don't remember too much about it, but the scene that sticks out to me is definitely the on the bus
Oh yeah.
massacre scene. There's some light humor in it. Some of it is
Some works, some doesn't.
a little. It comes close to being cringe. It definitely takes a certain type of culture from this generation, which a lot of movies have been picking from, kind of the
Which
woke
is which is
culture
which is
or the
understandable.
semi woke.
It's a
Well,
lot.
it plays really well as a comedic element.
Yeah, that's the thing is they don't take it seriously.
Well,
But they have like
people like
legitimate
seeing these
they
social justice warriors get butchered to death.
they don't take it they like the yeah, there's some aspects of it that is taken seriously. But then there's some of it that's like the main girl, like the one that not not okay, it's hard to even know which one to call our main
The
girl.
other main
The
girl.
girl with the curly
Yeah,
hair.
they're
The girl with the curly
it's like
hair.
a 2
Um
person a 2 person main
she
thing.
she you think you're gonna at first you think you're gonna hate her, but like she becomes like the actual one of the whole one of that group that actually is seems to have a heart. Um, everyone else just like, oh, we just care about what our stuff looks like, trying to turn this town into what it needs to be. And also, hey, we can go into spoilers now.
Yeah, we can go into spoiler
There
territory.
is a like dude that's from the town or everything that's got this truck. Dude in the truck, I don't remember his name. The local, I guess you could say, whatever.
Country Bumpkin Man.
Yeah, you really think he's gonna make it through most of the movie. They set it up that way, and it's like, oh, okay, it's gonna be him and
They
this other
definitely go into
girl.
some character build
And I was
early
like, and
on,
then all
yeah.
of a sudden, like, and I think we still got a solid like 40 minutes left in the movie, and this guy's dead. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
by that point, halfway point, that starts kicking into overgear, and he does not make the cut.
oh, and we need to talk about the worst thing about this movie, though. This movie tries to pull a Halloween 2018 with like how they did with Jamie Lee Curtis with the original character from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Not the same actress because she
Not
passed
the
away.
original yeah, actress, she passed away, yeah.
Um, and it
She gets
is
blown in the
and
chest with a shotgun. No bulletproof vest or anything. She gets mangled, ripped apart,
with a
and thrown
chainsaw.
into a garbage pile, and then she gets back up for a final shot?
And all that's not my problem with her though. That's my problem with the movie. That's not my problem with her. She is
It's
written
the trope.
poorly. She is written poorly. She is they're trying too hard to make her like Jamie Lee Curtis's character.
Yeah, the coming back
Uh,
deal.
and
Which, to
like
be fair, she was the sole
But
survivor.
here's the thing. Here's the difference between Halloween and that. At least with Halloween, people do associate Michael Myers and Jamie Lee Curtis, that friend, not Jamie,
Laurie
Laurie
Strode.
Strode. When you think of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you don't think of Leatherface and I don't even remember her name.
You don't know her name. It's Leatherface. He's
You don't
the
think
main draw.
so. Like that's the thing. It's like they're trying to pull Halloween 2018 and failing miserably. And
They did put a little bit, but that was one of the side plots they went with. Luckily, that wasn't like the entire storyline.
Okay, we gotta hurry up and move on to the next movie. But the thing I do want to say, the ending kill is one of the most surprising kills
Awesome.
I have ever seen in a horror. The two sisters are driving off in their what is it, a
Well,
Tesla?
no, the other one dies first,
No. Neither
and
of them
then
die. Neither of
the
them
other
die.
one gets sent in the car,
No, neither of them get died. Neither of them die. They're both in the car and they're leaving. They put on the autopilot on the car and they're letting the
which
car.
was very stupid, by the way.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
way slower.
yeah. Exactly. That's my problem. That's the reason why.
Moments before, though, he definitely has a death scene. Leatherface is hardcore dead at this point. There's no way in their brains
Um,
would they think he's alive after this death.
and then all of a sudden, Leatherface comes out of nowhere. But then the car grabs the girl I was talking about, the nice girl that you think would be an irritating character, but isn't. Grabs her by the hair, pulls her out of the freaking, and takes the chainsaw, no hesitation, and just decapitates this poor girl. And I'm like, whoa. Like, if I did kill counts like Dead Meat did, that'd be my golden chainsaw right there.
Good one.
It blew, and I do like the homage. It's kind of like a modern take on the final shot from the original, where she comes out of the visor on the car and she's like looking back at it. It's kind of an homage to that. I don't know if you caught that.
Definitely.
Kind of a
Definitely.
modern.
The
That was a nice
original
that was
girl
a
sitting in the
that
back
was
of
a
the car.
nice touch. And there's an after credit scene where Leatherface walking to the old house from the original. So maybe that's setting up a sequel. Who knows? Maybe
I
don't
wouldn't be too surprised.
maybe don't slap this next one on Netflix like this one was though. Maybe actually, I feel like there is a market for this franchise to put it back in theaters if you want to continue it. That's just me. But let's move on. We stuck on that movie for far too long.
It's
Oh,
near and dear.
the next movie is the Batman. We both saw that. And I'll let you start with
Love
this one.
Batman.
I'll let you start with this one.
Yeah, another retelling of the Batman. If we didn't have enough, I don't. This isn't the movie we needed, but it was the one we deserved. There was a solid setup for Gotham. It was a believable world. Then again, I would like a more comic Adam West style at some point. I would love for them to bring that back. But this is probably the grittiest Batman's ever been.
I don't see us getting
Bruce
that idea at all, ever. Especially
never say never.
where DC's headed right now with James Gunn in charge.
I think James Gunn would pull that kind of thing. Guardians of the Galaxy, very stylized.
We're kind of getting off topic.
But back to Batman. Paul Dano as the villain is great. I love him. Great actor. I wish they would have either left Joker let Joker have a bigger part or cut him out entirely.
That's not Joker. They confirmed that's not Joker.
Oh, they did.
They confirmed that.
He just wearing
the dude
face?
The dude that Riddler's talking to at the end in the prison. Oh, sorry, spoilers.
It's an after credits type deal.
Because Joker's not in this movie. They confirmed that was somebody else. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I heard that they confirmed that was somebody.
But yeah, that was a minor problem. I didn't think I would enjoy the Batman actor as much as I did. What's his name? I'm blanking.
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson of Twilight fame. A pretty boy. But he plays a really good young Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And they explain one of the best kept secrets of the Batman, I guess. Or the biggest plot holes is that when he takes off his mask, he doesn't have any black around his eyes, despite you clearly seeing he has eye makeup on. In this movie, they actually leave on the eye makeup, and I thought that was a nice touch. The other villain's kind of weak. The Penguin pissed or get off the pot on this one. But yeah, the Riddler was great. It was very dark. There was a lot of death. There was a lot of general sad vibes. Very emo.
But a young Batman would be like that, though. I feel like he would.
He would. His parents haven't been dead that long. He's just getting into the vigilante business. We've seen origin stories, but he's usually a good, 5-6 years older, and they jumped the gun. Like he's already figured things out, like with Christian Bale, for instance.
All right, my turn. I actually really enjoyed this movie. It's long, don't get me wrong, but you don't feel that length. You don't feel that length. You're feeling a pretty good story going through the whole time, and I really like this adaptation of Batman because I was kind of getting worn out on Batman stuff for a bit because DC was not knowing how to handle the character for a while and everything, and then this I was excited about. At first, when I saw the design of this version of Batman, I was completely against it. But then, like my first glance, and then I looked at it more when we got a good, more clear image of it. I liked it a lot more. It was really well done. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it looked, and it, like I saw him said, this is a dark movie. Like has a lot of dark elements. Something Sam didn't bring up though was Catwoman. I think this is probably one of my favorite
Oh
portrayals of
yeah.
Catwoman. I think, even though it does fall into some samey territory when it comes to Catwoman. And also, I have a fun fact about this movie. So in this movie, there is, I imagine they've been using it in the comics now for a while, but Batman has a device. There are these contact lenses that are cameras. Um, those were introduced in the second Telltale Batman game before they were ever
Hmm.
introduced in a comic. So because I literally was in the theater when I saw that movie, and I obviously me loving the Telltale games. I was like, oh, I know what that is. I was like, I know where
It's
y'all
got
got
the
that
bot
from. I
lens.
knew where y'all got that from.
What would you
um,
even call that? The cont bat?
the Bat Lens.
Bat lens.
But also
Bat.
it's definitely I was very hesitant on Robert Pattinson at first, very hesitant, but then movie came out. It's dark. Like this movie is really dark and is one of the best Batman movies we've gotten in a while. And this one definitely turns into more of the detective side of Batman. That is one of
I
my
did love that.
because we don't really get that. Like the Dark Knight movies tried to do it, but you still more just feel him as the vigilante in those movies. You don't really feel the detective side of
An
him.
action hero.
Like this one, you get both. You get like
It's definitely a noir. There's a lot of inner monologue coming from
uh huh.
Batman.
Oh, and the actor that played Alfred, I really like. I like that he wasn't like Alfred actually felt like a character. It wasn't like a frail, like couldn't do anything for himself old man. Um, like he has been in some other versions. I actually do feel I do really like this character, and I think I'm going to spoilers now. When you thought he died from that explosion, my heart sank. I was like, no, 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 no. Like I was invested in these characters, and I thought it was a really good. Do you have anything you want to mention spoiler wise?
Spoiler wise, the ending was pretty killer with it kind of tying back to the internet. That might not age that well, but for the
I feel
time,
like that's a good way
that's
to.
definitely
I
something that
feel like
could go down.
I feel like that's a good way to make it modern, but
We're all the Riddler.
make it modern, but not you know, like oh, I can't believe they're doing this kind of way.
Well, it turned into like mob
Because
mentality.
also some me and you we couldn't tell when the movie came out from the trailers when this is supposed to take place.
And then they released the trailers with the smart devices, and it was like immediately.
Modern
Because at
day
first I thought it was like a
90s.
70s beat.
Oh, I thought it
Oh,
was like
you're thinking
I was thinking like
much
90s.
earlier. I mean, the Batmobile is like a decked out old Charger.
That thing is like he's still getting into his own, and he just that's just a car that he decked out. It's not like a built up Bat movie. And I think we've got to confirm that we
It's
are
not a
getting
tank or anything.
I think we got to confirm that we are getting a sequel to this. I know we're getting a Penguin series based on it. I know that.
I thought that was
Uh,
a weak character, so I don't know if I'll check that out or not.
but let's move on to the next movie before we go on. Let's see. Okay. Okay, the next one we both seen. You is Turning Red. I'll start with this one. Um, okay. I'm gonna talk about another movie a little bit before I get into this. A little bit because this movie and Lightyear should have been switched. Lightyear should have been put on Disney Plus, and Turning Red should have been theatrically released. I
I
think
agree with that.
because I feel like Pixar, this was a better Pixar movie than Lightyear. We'll get to Lightyear later. Um, but I just had to get that off my chest.
The
Um,
major suckage.
um, Turning Red, I did not know what to expect going into this movie. And obviously, there's a lot in it I can't relate to because of obviously I am an adult man.
Mhm.
But for the most part, I like that because like people are now we're starting to get into that nostalgia of the 2000 early 2000s. Um, and that's where this movie takes place, is the early 2000s. And it feels, you can feel the early 2000s in this movie, and I love it. It doesn't like she's carrying around a freaking what's it called, a Tamagotchi,
Tamagotchi, yeah.
which was really cool to think about. And the anime, there was a lot of criticism about the animation style to this movie.
Really?
A lot of people were thinking it was too generic to the like how a lot of animated shows are animated nowadays, and I was like, shut up.
I didn't really see that.
Yeah, it was. I follow the animation community a lot, so that's how I knew about it. Um, but overall, I think the movie had a fun vibe. I feel like even though there's some stuff like obviously I can't relate to, I still enjoyed the movie, and obviously I think that what they're trying to relate to this movie, that audience is probably either going to if they haven't seen this movie yet, or they probably really loved it. I imagine. And also, I like the design of the panda. I think it is a real. I cannot believe I don't have a plushie of that thing yet. I'm not gonna lie. I will say one thing. The final act, there's a little bit where I'm a little uncomfortable with some of the things this panda girl's doing. So I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it
It's a
gets
little weird.
interesting. And, yeah.
But overall, I think the movie it's funny. It's over the top, and but in a good way. I think overall it is definitely is the better Pixar film we got this year. I do really enjoy where they took this direction, and the animation is obviously Pixar, regardless of the movie, is the animation is gonna be great. Uh, the animation was really great, and the world. Obviously, it's like this movie takes place in Canada. I know that. I
Toronto.
don't know how accurate it is to the actual city and everything. I don't know how accurate it
It
is,
looked great.
but it looked great. Really great animation, really great set
Real
design.
fun setting.
Good,
You wouldn't
funny.
think so, but
And you would think her friend characters would be annoying, but except for the one that screamed a lot, that she was kind of annoying. but the other one, but the other two I liked, and it was just a fun time. And I really wish it would have had a theatrical release. All right, Sam.
Yeah, I would have taken this, over Lightyear in a million light years. But I don't know if this is the kind of movie I'd watch with a female demographic, family. I'm a little skittish when it comes to that kind of thing. This is an allegory for, womanhood.
yeah,
I think you can put the
definitely.
pieces together for that one. Uh, there's direct mentions of certain things, but obviously the joke in the movie is that, she's actually going through turning into a red panda. It's not, code, but in a way,
It's both.
kind of code.
It's both.
But yeah, the setting was great. Toronto, early 2000s Canada. It seems pretty basic, but they use a lot of the culture. You got boy bands, CDs, Tamagotchi, hanging out. There was the scene where she's drawing some of her fan art, and that got a big laugh from me. I thought that was hilarious.
I do think there were
Um,
bits where you feel like the movie's gonna go a certain way, and it's like, oh no, this movie's going this way, and it doesn't.
it has a pretty original script.
Mm.
I I give it credit to that, and it's probably if one of my, if not favorite animated movies of the year. I'll get into my absolute favorite later on, but Pixar knocked it out of the park with this one, and I have a feeling they thought this would be a kind of a, what's the word? Not offensive, but touchy subject for
Well,
a commercially
and
viable release,
and also they probably just thought
Lightyear is a safe bet.
it wouldn't go over as well with all audiences.
Exactly. But ended up watching this with a couple of guys, and we all thought it was great.
We
It
enjoyed
was
it.
it was fun.
Next is
But yeah,
a another movie we both saw, and that is X.
RBX.
Um,
I'll take the lead on this
all
one
right.
because personally, this one was near and dear. The idea, I love the 70s. The 70s are just the aesthetics of the decade. It's it's definitely not something. Uh, there's a lot of porn elements. I'll get that out of the way right now. Like that's the main central plot line. Is they're going up to a farmhouse to shoot a porno. Uh, there's a lot of moments in this movie that make you feel uncomfortable
YouTube,
for good reasons.
don't age restrict us for saying that.
Bleep. Um, uh, Funny enough, I didn't realize this when I watched it through. They just used prosthetics for the old people so they could do more sparse movements. It was Weta Workshop. You'd know them from things like the Chronicles of Narnia. Very good special effects. There's some solid kills. Some that stood out more than others. Just real rundown. The character acting was great,
Oh yeah.
and it was a good reason that they decided to make this into a franchise. From the get-go, that was the plan to kind of do a. I don't
Fil-
know if it was a plan to
filmed
do the trilogy, but
filmed this and
1 and
Pearl
2 were
back to
back to
back,
back.
and Pearl was filmed in
A lot of
secret.
Mia Goth.
The cat
Yeah, Ty West is.
Ty
I
Wa-
mean, this is probably the
the
best modern trilogy. What you were saying?
um Mia Goth and Ty West were the only ones that were on the first film. The first film that didn't know anything about that. Oh, that did only people that knew about Pearl.
Wonder how that went over. Did they use the same cast and crew? Well, not that cast, as a lot of them die, but
Only cast member that
I liked
returns in
this
the.
one
Oh, we'll talk about
better.
Pearl when we get to Pearl.
I did. I would say I liked X better though. Get that out of the way. Obviously, we'll talk about Pearl, but it was a fun setting, fun kills. Uh, there was a couple of slow moments. The build up takes a bit, but it doesn't make you hate the build up. And yeah, I liked it.
All right. I guess I'll talk about X. This was definitely one of my favorite horror movies of the year. I've seen it twice. Not twice in theaters, once at home after I bought it on Blu. Fun fact though, when I bought it, I took a bunch of my movies over to my brother's house when I stayed with him. What you got a good horror movie? And I was like, this. We watched it, and he said it sucked. And I was like,
Didn't like it.
what? But I really enjoyed this movie. And here's the thing: we don't get to the horror, like the actual like killing and stuff, like a good ways into the movie. Like, you're a
A
good
little more than
chunk into the
half.
movie. By the time that starts, but the thing is, some horror movies you're like, okay, can we go ahead and get to that? Come on, can we? This like you're still invested in these characters. You like these characters, and like none of the characters are like mean spirited characters. Like they're good characters. Um,
They do egg on that one character though. Peer pressure.
um, one thing that I do not like. No, like sorry. One thing. So normally in horror movies, and movies in general, I hate pointless nudity. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But the whole plot of this movie is about sexuality
Essential to the plot
and
point.
all that stuff, and literally they're making an adult film. Um, it's. I feel like this is a movie where you gotta have it. Like it's not like something you. It's like I don't feel like oh my goodness, here we go. They're not just showing it just to show it.
Yeah, it's more like, oh my gosh, here we go.
One thing that I will that was a little weird to me, and I'm glad they didn't go that far with it, was what is her name?
I know who you're talking about. Ortega.
Jenna Ortega, yeah.
Jenna Ortega. Yeah.
When she decided she wants to be part of the film, I was grabbing my see, like, no,
You can't say that. You can't say that.
No, I mean, I can't say that.
You were grabbing your
I was grabbing my seat.
Oh.
And like scared that they're actually gonna do that. And like there's like, oh man, thank goodness it didn't show anything. What'd you think I was gonna say?
I can't say that.
Ah, you horrible person. Anyway, overall, though, I do think the kills in this movie are good. The horror atmosphere. I do think one thing I do not like is like after everything starts going down. And also they make the killers, the old couple, sympathetic. You sympathize with these guys. Like you understand why they're got these frustrations because, well, they can't do anymore.
They need to get it somewhere else.
And the kills are definitely really interesting. And
it's really not that sympathetic. They're killing a lot of people.
Oh yeah, up until then, they start killing people.
They do focus on the kind of trying to make you uncomfortable though.
Yeah.
After the first get, instead of jumping right into the horrific.
Yeah.
Death.
But also Mia Goth plays both Maxine and Pearl, which I didn't even notice that when I first saw the movie.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's really, even with the camera trickery, didn't even like. Sometimes you can notice that when they shoot a movie that way. But this one, I didn't notice it. And also, okay, get into the spoiler talk a little bit. Jenna Ortega, when she gets locked in the basement afterwards, and then like after she freaks out and like screams. Here's the thing. They make you think, because like normally in any other movie, Jenna Ortega's character would be the final girl. Any other horror movie, she would be the final girl. But she saves her.
I'm glad they didn't go that way. I like Mia Goth's character.
But I'm right though, right? Most time that would be our final girl.
Oh, I didn't really see it that way.
I did. But when she runs out and gets freaking shotgunned, I'm like, whoa, didn't see that coming. And also, this is not Jenna Ortega's first step into horror. She was in the Babysitter sequel, and then she would go on to be in the new Scream, and she'll be in the new Scream coming out this year. So she'll be in 4 horror movies now that I know of. I don't know if she's been in anything else besides those 3, but yeah, overall, a really great horror movie. Let's see what's next. All right, next is one only you saw. I didn't see this one.
Would that be Everything Everywhere All at Once? One of the best movie releases of the year. Originally, they came to offer this movie to Jackie Chan, but he turned it down. Yeah, I found that out just a little while ago. But I feel the main lead, the lady, did a fantastic job. She really hasn't done much major acting. She did co-star with Jackie Chan at one point with the Police Story movies. But, I mean, this was a total tackle of the multiverse. We've been seeing a lot of that lately. Even Sonic just approached it with the new Netflix series. They played it in a very interesting, very, what would you call it? Not fish out of water, just unexpected hero. This is an unexpected hero and a very unexpected villain.
I hate to interrupt you for a second, Tom, but I remember seeing a joke. Someone was on their top 10 list for of movies for this year, and it was like they were describing, they're like, this movie really was a multiverse of madness, and then said,
That was definitely better.
because like, yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. Sorry, continue.
Well, yeah, it jumps through multiverses like you wouldn't believe. It's fast paced. They're going like through 6 of them in a couple minutes. Meanwhile, movie, unfortunately,
That we'll
you
get
brought
to.
up, did not give us that.
We'll get to
But yeah,
that.
we'll get into that. Most of this movie was just the cool sequences it put in, and the actors they did a great job. They got the kid from the Temple of Doom to come back out of retirement for this one. Like he hadn't acted in probably 30 years. Because something to do with the Asian American actors in the film industry. But yeah, I mean, he hasn't been around since like The Goonies. That's how long it's been. He, and I I think our Jamie Lee Curtis was in this one
She
as
was.
a
Huh.
she did not play your typical character. She had a lot of character progression up and down.
Oh,
Did it need to be her? No, but she did a great job in the role.
I need to check this movie out.
I don't know how you haven't seen it. This movie was being talked about by
I know.
enjoyers of film and the broad audiences alike.
Well, now let's go
It made
into
a good
our
amount of money.
next
Big
film,
success.
which was also talked about by everyone, but not for the same
It's
reason.
Morbin
It's
time.
Morbin time.
Morbin time.
The one movie in history, to my knowledge at least, to flop
Flop
twice. How do you make that mistake? Sony, you need to stop with this crap. You are
I don't know
trying
how they got
too
tricked into that.
you are trying too hard with this freaking Spider-Man. Oh, look, the only reason people are to see this movie is because of the Spider-Man connections.
The
But
tie-ins. That's why I originally was so big into it.
I was also, besides that, I was like, okay, this could be an interesting, different Marvel movie.
I
But
liked
no,
Venom. Why wouldn't I like Morbius?
I walked out of this so disappointed. I didn't have high hopes anyway, because the last movie they did, Let There Be Carnage, wasn't that good. But I walked out of this extremely just. I literally said out loud when I walked out of the theater, "What the heck was that?" Oh, and the Michael Keaton stuff, and that's in the trailers. We'll hold that off for spoil. No, I don't care about spoiling this one. I don't care about spoiling this one. I'm sorry, I don't care because this is
I don't think a lot of people will watch it.
Because that's a post credit scene there with the stuff of Michael Keaton. They show you the cracked stuff that you saw in Spider-Man No Way Home, and also that also makes no sense why he got sent to Spider-Man's this universe, because the spell didn't do that, but Sony just wanted to do that because I don't know.
I am interested to see how they handle that, though.
Sony, the only reason why I'm still okay with you keeping the Spider-Man film rights, is for Spider-Verse. That's the only reason why
You tell me their last endeavor wasn't amazing.
just
People loved it.
this movie was just
Give them some credit. Come on. Morbius was definitely a big hit.
No, it was
in
not.
The gut.
Yeah, definitely. You got anything you want to say about Morbius?
It's a pretty dark movie, and I was falling asleep during a lot of it.
It was boring.
Matt Smith tried to do a good job, but yeah, it was boring.
Okay, so what Matt Smith's character was more Morbius than Morbius was.
Yeah, this is a villain. Morbius is the bad guy. Not in this movie. He gets another bad guy to take down.
That's my problem with them. That's what they're trying to do with these Spider-Man villain movies. They want to make the
That's
villains
why
the heroes.
they
And
were able to do that with the Venom, though, because there is the Lethal Protector storyline.
yeah, but also he still has that mean-spirited uh crap. You still would, you still like you could still see this character turning into a villain if he needed to.
He needed to. He
Morbius,
will do what it takes.
Morbius, him trying to partner up with freaking um the Vulture at the end. Also, how did the Vulture get his stuff? Like, how the heck did he get his freaking stuff? I'm sorry, this makes me too mad. Let's move on. Let's move on.
In time.
Okay. The next one is something we also both saw, which is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I was very much anticipating this movie's release. I was very excited for it. I really liked the first one, and the fact that this one bringing in Tails and Knuckles and everything was a real big selling point for me, and I was really excited. And the fact that Tails was being voiced by the person that plays him in the games currently was also a real good.
That was good.
I was like, that's something you don't see every day. Am I wrong? It's Ben Schwartz, right? That's who plays Sonic.
Yeah, instead of Roger Craig Smith. A lot of people were disappointed at that.
I like him. I like Ben Schwartz's take on Sonic. It gives him this Sonic is clearly a kid. There, and he plays that very well. Also, this movie kind of makes Tails kind of a stalker.
Yeah, a little bit.
We'll get to that in the spoiler section. But Knuckles, played by Idris Elba, I feel like is a great casting. I feel like this character is really funny, but not like because he's cracking jokes and stuff. It's because the dude doesn't understand 90%. And that's what they kept with the freaking, because like if you look at all the other adaptations of Knuckles, Knuckles isn't dumb. But when Sonic Boom came out, they made
misguided.
But then when Sonic Boom came out, they made him dumb. I think for this movie, they combined like the toughness and all that stuff about Knuckles and combined a little bit of the dumbness from Sonic Boom in there. And I was like, that's what I like. I like that this is what y'all did for this movie. And it's a lot of fun. And that post-credit scene, which we'll talk about later, was great.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like, and a lot of people might not agree, because I don't know, right before this movie came out, Jim Carrey announced his retirement. And I feel like this was a good movie for him to go out on, because he, once again, is one of the best parts of the movie. Because he's playing it up a lot more than he was in the first one. You thought he was wacky and crazy in the first movie? Because he's been alone for
a good amount of time.
He's been alone
in Mushroom Land,
and then he was probably eating those mushrooms too. So
for everything, mushrooms. Eating.
He was like really just crazy, over the top, and I loved it, and it was so much fun. And there was a good bit of references to the Sonic franchise in here.
Yes.
Definitely the chili dogs.
They even worked in a Mean Bean Machine reference. Yeah. The coffee shop. I thought that was great.
That was nice. And actually, his little sidekick, Eggman's sidekick, what was his name? Stone. Yeah. Agent Stone. They actually. Like I didn't care for his character in the first one, but he's kind of fun this time around.
They played it up. They definitely played it up.
And another thing that I did really like, obviously Sonic is like, and the CGI character is pretty much front and center. James Marsden's character and his wife are here.
They took a back seat.
But they did, and they did have a side plot. But also, it's still entertaining. Like other times when you cut to other stuff like that away from Sonic, you're like, "Can we get back to Sonic, please?" This time I was like, okay, this is because the way that twist goes, I'm like, what? And it's great. And
It
overall,
was organic.
it's a lot of fun to have this movie, and I really did enjoy it. It's got some few jokes that don't hit, but for the most part, like some of Sonic's quips are a little too quippy. There's like a scene where like he makes it just like you guys are like Rock and Vin Diesel always fighting, or I was like, okay, that was a little cringe. But for the most part, overall, the movie works in my opinion. I think it's better than the first one. Um, and I had a lot of fun with it. Some
There's a little bit to say about this. Obviously, with the first Sonic, it kind of built up a good representation of what Sonic can be in a cinema setting. Um, a lot of people consider it kind of the boom of the video game movies coming back in with a stable level of quality
I feel
and
like
the
Detective
humor.
Pikachu kicked that off.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, with Sonic the Hedgehog, we've had no shortage of media when it comes to this character. So it's not like it was a huge risk or endeavor, but they did knock it out of the park for fans and audiences alike. And they just made it better in the second one, giving Eggman a more Eggman-y feel. He was definitely much more like Eggman. The first one was more of an origin story. Uh, the references were great, as you said, and I did prefer the backseat for the human characters. It's a Sonic movie. Give me more Sonic.
Well, yeah,
Don't bog him
I
down.
prefer that too, but I don't hate those characters though.
No, no, by no means do I hate the characters. It was kind of a necessary thing to give them a grounding to this universe
Mm-hmm.
and end that off before we go into spoiler territory. Why do I need your power when I have the way?
Oh my gosh.
I love that.
There were so many memes
So
about
many.
that. There were so many memes that trailer came out. There was so many,
And
which
he doesn't do a perfect American or British accent. It's something in between. So I think it's safe to say we can canonize him from
you
being
gone.
from Uganda after moving from Angel Island or
The
wherever
mushroom
he's from.
planet. Or
Spoiler
no,
territory.
the reason why I said Tails is a stalker. he
He's
lit
watching
he
Sonic this
literally
whole
the
time.
whole events of the first movie, he was watching him.
He's watching.
I'm
Just
like,
watching it.
bruh, that's creepy. I get Tails as a kid too, but that's weird.
Watching it from his magic
And
portal.
wasn't Sonic like a little uncomfortable when he said that too? I think he was.
Yeah, yeah, it was played up as kind of like funny but creepy.
Yeah, like this is not something you need to be telling me.
He's doing it for analytical purposes, for
I
the
guess
data.
I guess they really had to give us a reason why Tails was looking for him. I guess because we didn't know why Tails was looking for him at the end of the first movie, which we really still didn't have a reason
Yeah, I was gonna
at
say,
this
what was his
at
reason
this
again?
point. I think it's just because he wanted I need to rewatch the movies. I don't remember everything. Um,
Sad and Ronry and wanted a best friend,
I
and
guess
he'd been watching him in his hermithood.
I guess. But also, one thing I may have made this joke before: what is up with James Marsden and hanging out with animated CGI characters?
Yeah, this Hop,
There's something
he's
else.
been doing it all.
Is there something else that he did that in?
I I I don't know. Hop is the big one for me.
Kind of funny. James Marsden has been in a movie the past 3 years. 2020 was the first Sonic. Last year he was in My Little Pony: New Generation, and then he was in the sequel to Sonic.
Is that it?
Yeah, I don't think he's been in anything else since those three movies. That's all I knew about. Oh, but yeah. Oh, we got to talk about post credit scene.
spoiler territory. They kill Eggman, which is a tough blow because he's the
Well,
main antagonist of
we
the
don't
Sonic universe.
see we don't see him, but I'm just gonna say because
There's
of
a lot
Jim
of elements.
because of Jim Carrey's retirement,
Maybe
um,
he's horribly disfigured.
and they'll just recast him.
Yeah,
Or just
yeah.
make him come back as a CGI character and look like the
Oh,
actual game.
they could do the storyline where there's a mutated egg that turns into an evil Eggman.
I don't
An
know.
eviler
But they
Eggman.
did show that Shadow is going to be in the next film, which
Actually, I read that they don't intend to have him in the next movie.
what?
Most likely, it will be the one after that.
Why would they tease him at the end of what is this? The MCU back in
Think about it.
what is this MCU back in 2015?
Doing a whole franchise. But think about it. He's too similar to Knuckles' origin story. They start off as enemies and then they become semi-allies. Obviously not full-on allies, but that's what we just saw with Knuckles.
Yeah, but
Would they do it again?
Knuckles and Tails have kind of become like his brothers, basically. They're living with him on Earth, and they're like siblings now.
But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would do that same storyline again. It shares the same beats. There is a different outcome, but they still end up allies when it's useful to each other, not like Eggman's relationship.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on. The next three only you have seen.
Oh, you didn't see any of these?
I have not seen any of these three that you have listed here. So, specifically, don't go into spoilers with the first one you're going to go over because I still want to watch that one. Um,
The bad guys,
yeah.
I don't have a load to say about it. The animation was stylistically quite appeasing. I did like looking at it. At the voice actors, they got some pretty heavy hitters in there. Storyline, it's hard to say nothing about it without going into spoiler territory, but I'll try to avoid it. It's a character piece. This is a character piece of the bad guys wanting to not be the bad guys anymore. And hilarity ensues. It's a heist movie. Rarely do you see an animated heist movie. I don't think I've seen one before to this level. It's like watching an ocean. I don't know what an Ocean's movie. You know, Ocean's 11, 12, 13. It's like watching one of those, but animated. That's about all I have to say about that.
I know the bad guys
The
was.
Northman.
I know the bad guys is based off of children's books. I found that out.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're based on children's books. DreamWorks has been doing that a
It
lot.
was well received. Yeah, with How to Train Your Dragon
Shrek.
and
Shrek is a kid's book as well.
Shrek. They took only a little bit of inspiration before going full ham on that franchise, though.
All right. Your next one is The Northman.
The Northman was a fantastic movie. You view this movie as a movie of revenge from the trailers, but it goes in a completely different direction. They get that stuff out of the way almost immediately before it just takes a fun approach to it. It had Willem Dafoe in it. Willem Dafoe is great. He
Oh,
doesn't have a huge role,
I didn't even know
but he
Willem
does
Dafoe
play
was
a
in it.
loon. It's a good movie. If you like, it's an action movie, but it also has really good storytelling to it. Big sweeping shots, orchestrated music. Anya Joy Taylor's in there. I think they had Russell Crowe. I could be wrong, but it's not mythology. This is pretty grounded in reality. Think Skyrim without magic. Well, some magic, but not a lot of magic. I would honestly recommend you check this one out. So I'm not going to go into too many plot points of it because it is pretty crucial to the watch of this movie and the enjoyment.
All right, and your next one, which I believe was the Nicolas Cage movie that came
Nick
out.
Cage plays Nick Cage, and he's going to a birthday party because he's so down on his luck
Oh, you didn't even say the
that
title of the movie.
oh yeah, the unbearable weight of massive talent. The whole theater was dying laughing to this one. It was hilarious. At one point, Nicolas Cage makes out with himself. It's like writing a love letter to yourself. And there's so many references to his film career. That's most of the riffing and the way he behaves. I loved this movie. In fact, I want to check it out here pretty soon again on a rewatch. It was
I
that
still haven't
funny.
seen it. I was one I wanted to see, but just didn't wind up going to see.
There wasn't too many like standout comedy movies of this year. This one was up there.
All right, so let's go on to. I'm guessing you don't want to reveal any spoilers for that.
There's not a lot to spoil. It's a comedy movie. The plot's light. Hilarity ensues.
All right, let's go into probably my biggest disappointment of the year. I was really looking forward to this. It was probably my most anticipated MCU movie of the year. Um,
Right
Doctor
there with
Strange,
you on this one.
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. One, it's directed by Sam Raimi. Um,
Yeah.
that was one of the things that interested me. I was like, okay, let's see where that's gonna go. And I'm gonna say the positives first, because when you watch, you can tell this movie is directed by Sam Raimi. Like
Yeah, it has those beats.
it has his fingerprints all over it. It's like you can
The
tell.
biggest one being Bruce Campbell.
Well,
He
that,
puts them in all of his
and
movies.
also a lot of the cinematography is his signature style. Uh, the eye, there's a lot of weird eye stuff in this movie. That's also a freaking Sam Raimi thing. Um, it was very Sam Raimi, I guess you could say. Um, the reason I was very interested in the story they were going for here, because you hear that title, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and you think you're gonna be in for a wild ride. Like that's your thought process going into that. And I guess maybe it's because this movie had to follow freaking Spider-Man No Way Home, which was probably the biggest MCU movie since Endgame. Um, and This movie, though, it is not a multiverse of madness. We go to two other universes,
They
not
do have that one
not counting the one
sequence.
where they fall through. Even though that is nice, that is nice to see. I did recognize a few comic references in there, but
That should have been the whole movie.
that should have been the whole movie. Don't get me wrong. Some of the stuff we do get in it is nice. Like I do like the seeing the Illuminati. I did really like that. That was a and the fact is one thing that and this movie is dark at points. This movie is dark, darker than most MCU movies are. So I got to give them that. But the fact is,
That is
I
definitely
would
the
have,
Sam Raimi
yeah,
influence.
I would have liked it to go a little darker, personally, because obviously, and also, oh, it was we finally got our first little taste of the Fantastic Four in the MCU. Here, sorry, that's a spoiler. I shouldn't have said that. um, but overall, America Chavez is an interesting character, but I feel like they gave her too much here because this is definitely I feel like Doctor Strange is taking a back seat in his own movie.
Yeah.
I really feel like he's taking a back seat. There is a funny joke I do like at the beginning of the movie where they're talking about like how they just had an incident with the multiverse with Spider-Man, and like there's confusion about how Spider-Man's powers works. He's like, he shoots webs out of his. He had to have multiple eyes. It's like, and then they're just both Doctor Strange and Wong are like, I don't know. or like maybe he does. I don't know, because obviously they wouldn't know because of the spell from so that was nice continuity there. Even though the MCU, that's not been a problem for the MCU. Continuity wasn't a problem for that. But I like America Chavez's character, but also I can't be the one that snickered every time the someone says like something, we got to protect America or save America.
Yeah.
I was like,
That was
I was
great.
like, I'm like, y'all do know what y'all it sounds like y'all are saying, right? But that was probably
Like
the
Born in the USA should start playing.
it's just funny there. But overall, the thing, do not watch this movie if you have not seen WandaVision.
Yeah. It's a
Because
central plot point
I
to this
feel
one.
I feel like if you could get something out of it if you didn't watch it,
It
but
would hindrance
also
your
but
enjoyment.
it would hinder your enjoyment. And I feel like if I didn't see it on the Vision before I saw it, because I watched WandaVision late, like way after it came out. And I was watching it in preparation for this movie because I was told you need to watch WandaVision first before you see this movie. So I did. And my goodness, that show was much better than this movie.
It was a good show. I very much enjoyed
See,
WandaVision.
the thing is, okay, so I'll let them know. Let's just say his thoughts before I get, because what I need to talk about involves spoilers.
There was not much more to say that you put into it. I wanted more of a multiverse of madness, and we did not get that at all.
You got it.
And the trailer. Oh, huh?
You got it in another movie.
Yeah, and I would definitely pick that one over this one. This was a very weak Marvel endeavor. I'm still waiting for that good one. I don't. It's a big hurdle to jump over for the big Spider-Man No Way Home. That was
You're
huge.
waiting for that big one to reel you back into the MCU.
Yeah, right now I'm kind of just sleeping over here. I didn't see Wakanda Forever. I
Which
didn't see
we'll get to
Black
that
Adam.
one.
It's superhero related, but yeah, spoiler territory,
Okay.
I guess.
Wanda has to learn the same lesson again.
Again, don't do bad
I
things.
get have the grieving mother thing. I get that. And also, by the way, I don't know what anyone says. She is not dead. There's
It
no,
definitely looked like she died.
see, this is the thing. Like, unlike Sonic, you can get away not showing a body and, like, yeah, they're dead. MCU, you got to show that body. Not Kyle Hearn rocks and not even a hand like falling on the ground or anything. Just, and this is the Scarlet Witch we're talking about. She can't
One of the
survive.
most powerful
Like,
characters
she
in
can't
the Marvel
survive
Cinematic
freaking.
Universe.
Like, she can't survive a bunch of rocks falling on her.
Yeah, but they were ancient rocks,
Oh my goodness.
imbued with who knows what kind of power.
Now here's the thing: the Illuminati scenes with them, dealing with them, getting to see a live action Captain Carter was really cool. I liked that. Getting to see a live action Captain Carter. It's not the same one from the episode of What If that we got, but
Yeah,
seeing
yeah.
that though was cool. I thought that was really
I
cool.
did like watching them all die. They got massacred.
Yeah, especially for freaking Captain Carter gets freaking cut in half with their own shield. I don't remember the guy's name that can't talk or he'll.
Reed. Oh yeah, the Black Boom or
I don't
whatever.
remember.
Black Bolt.
Yeah, he gets his literal brain blown up.
Yeah, yeah, he holds his trap shut and he tries to scream.
No, she takes his mouth away.
Yeah, and oh yeah, yeah. He
She
doesn't
takes it,
hold it. He tries to use his power though, and it
and
blows the back of his head up.
which that's a scary power to have. That could just happen to you. That
And
is,
then Reed Richards gets stretched out of existence.
yeah. Uh,
That was a good scene.
and here's my problem. I know this is a different Captain Marvel in a different universe, but we've seen what that character can do. You really telling me bringing down a bunch of boulders on her is gonna kill her? Bullcrap.
Yeah, that was kind of weak.
I was like, there's no, you had Scarlet Witch be able to fight a version of Captain Marvel. That could have been really cool. But no, we had to focus on saving America.
They could have done so much with the multiverse. I mean, come on.
And everyone
It
like
could have been legendary fights.
and the freaking and the Doctor Strange other in the other universe that they had in the trailer. You made it seem like such a big deal. And it's nothing. I don't know. I had more expectations for that movie, and I
It was a
thought I
disappointment.
was starting to. Everyone knows I'm not a big fan of the first Doctor Strange, but I was
Me
starting to
neither.
like the character more because of the other him in the other movies. I I don't know. This movie was weak. All right, what's our next one? Oh, I think this is your favorite movie of the year.
Yeah, this is the one, a modern retelling of Roger Rabbit, basically.
So,
Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
yep, which was one of the well, I'll let Sam pick this. Start this off with this one.
Well, this was a passion project from a long time ago. The one of the members of the Lonely Island had originally pitched this. Keith Schaefer. Uh, you even got Roger Rabbit doing the Roger Rabbit. What more could you ask for? They got all the not all the properties, but they got a ton of properties from just modern day. Like we're talking the last 10 years.
Not just
Originally,
not
a
just
fun
modern,
fact.
not just modern. There's some old stuff in
Yeah,
here
they
too.
got a lot of classics in there too. But you know what kind of audience they had. They were trying to make this the modern take of Roger Rabbit,
They were
but not
pleasing both.
shying away from the OGs.
They were pleasing both the young and new because obviously a lot of the young kids don't know Rescue Rangers.
That's true. Yeah, they took an existing old school franchise and kind of Trojan horsed their way into modern society.
I think for this one, Sam, we're just going to be building off of each other for this one. Um,
Riffing off.
but
A fun fact though, Ugly Sonic was originally supposed to be Jar Jar Binks.
yeah,
That's how old this script is.
we're just gonna get into spoilers and stuff. I guess we're not even gonna. But here's the
Right
thing:
off the bat. Is that a reveal?
this is not a well. I'm saying like I don't see how we can really talk about this movie without spoilers. I
Just
can't
reads you a
really
line.
I can't really talk about it without spoilers. Um
There's just so many.
um and I need to actually do a review of this on my channel. I still haven't reviewed it. Um
If you haven't seen this, I recommend
yeah,
skipping this
skipping
bit
to
of the
the
segment.
yeah.
It's that good.
So real quick, I do need to point out one thing. This is not a Chippendales Rescue Rangers movie.
At
If
all.
you're going into this expecting a Chippendale adventure like it was in the old cartoon, you get a little bit of that at the final at the in the third act. You get a little bit of it, a little, but not like exactly what you would expect. It's that
It's Chippendale.
in this world, Chippendale Rescue Rangers is a TV show just like it is in our world.
Oh, that was great. The way they set that up with the way they originally sound with the really high pitched voice, that was just a voice they did for television. So they're able to have a believably real
Reason that
sounding voice
the reason
with
why
continuity.
because that's what the problem some people have when the trailer came out. They were like, "Why are their
Those don't
voices
sound
like
anything
that?"
like them.
And it's like and they're like, "Oh, that's why." Because they're actors. And oh my gosh, the cameos. I don't see how some of the stuff they got Like, even though it's Disney.
Disney is a juggernaut.
Well, obviously, I did find out
Oh,
the ugly
viewing and
Sonic
dealing.
thing. They didn't have to ask for that because it falls under parody. That
Parody. Yeah, I
that
read up on that.
they didn't need to ask for that, but everyone knows what they were doing. Everyone knows what they were doing. And the thing is about Ugly Sonic, he's not a throwaway gag. Like,
Yeah, he becomes a major point of the
yeah, like
storyline.
literally he saves them. He saves them at the point of the
He
movie.
wanted to be a hero.
And I'm like, can I see that cop show that he's part of they were talking about? Can I see that show? I want to see that show now. Disney, can you make some type of deal with Paramount or Sega or whoever? You have to make a deal to make that happen. I want that.
Ugly Sonic.
But like you had Phineas and Ferb references. You had freaking Jungle Book and everything. I actually like that they imply that the Baloo and everything is the same one that you've seen from the Disney Afternoon and the live action Jungle Book, and
yeah, they made it.
he did the CGI surgery. Like I like that. I actually like
That was great.
that one.
There was really clever writing.
And the Uncanny Valley scene with cats from Cats, the weird mocap with freaking Seth Rogen's character, and then that scene with Seth Rogen talking to his other characters, Pumbaa.
There's like
Pumbaa.
5 of them.
There's Pumbaa. There was Bob from Aliens, Mantis or whatever.
Mantis, yeah.
And there was one other one, I think. I don't remember what the other one was. And this is just a cameo that's like literally, it could be a blinking and miss it moment. Randy from South Park.
Oh
That's
yeah,
there too.
yeah. They had some also other really light callbacks to Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
And South Park again in that really quick flash of
And obviously
assets.
This one was a big deal to me.
Jimmy Neutron.
That's not what I was going for. My Little Pony had a cameo in this, and that like it's not a like parody or anything. That is the straight up characters because they used the animation style from the 2017 movie. Wonder why they decided to do that. Wonder why they decided to use that animation for.
There's probably nobody drawing this art anymore.
It was really cool to see this movie, and I loved it. It's definitely one of my favorites of the year. Technically, this would be your favorite. This is technically, you want to get technical. This technically is an animated film.
It's a hybrid.
Oh, also,
I didn't straight up call it animated.
Also, one thing before we move on, I would have preferred a fully 2D Chip. Yeah.
Dale. No, Dale gets the surgery. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Chip has the original. They used
it's a 3D model with a 2D like texture type thing. Obviously, cheaper to do that. Obviously, for him to be in the whole film, it's cheaper. But
very expensive.
I would have loved it if he was fully 2D.
It would have been the icing. I think that would have been perfection. But they did the same thing with T.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next film, which I don't know if it'll be one that I've. Okay. This one's just you. I have not seen.
Oh man, this was a gross out horror pick, a psychological thriller of sorts. A lot of relation to death and rebirth, and there's just kind of this naked man stalking this woman in rural England. It wasn't the best movie, but I do have fond memories of it.
I had no interest in this movie.
I don't think anybody was in the theater when I saw it.
Really?
It was very niche. It was a very niche movie.
All right.
It's not worth the entire watch through for the scenes that are in it. But if you want to watch a quick summarization of the more gross out special effects that they did, they are pretty solid. And it's an A24 movie.
All right. Next one is one I was very excited for this year, and it devastated me how this was a box office flop. It really devastated me because I really enjoyed this movie, and that is the Bob's Burgers movie. It was a it was a flop, and I don't know why it was a flop. I don't think the movie
I
was.
have a feeling I know why.
I don't think it was.
Bob's Burgers is not a well-known franchise anymore. It's kind of
Well,
fallen off in popularity.
and also, this movie was one of those movies that was in development heck.
Development, hell.
Like it, and like everyone was excited for this. I remember everyone talking about it when it was announced, and we finally had a release date and everything like that. But then we were finally getting stuff about it. No one really cared anymore.
Interest was gone.
But here's the thing: one of the things that I really think, the reason why I really wanted to see this, is anytime there's a 2D animated movie from a major studio, I go and see it because I love watching 2D animation on the big screen. We don't get that much anymore. I've heard
Yeah, they
rumors.
rarely
I've,
do.
I've heard rumors that Disney's supposed to be going back into 2D animation, hand-drawn animation,
Yeah, I heard that
and
too.
I'm super.
I hope it's true.
I hope that's true. I'm really excited to see what that has to do for the future, especially if it's going to look like some of the old Disney stuff. That's going to excite the heck out of me. Um, but this movie, I had a lot of fun. I'm not a huge Bob's Burgers fan, but it's a musical, and I think it's the first musical I got to see in this year. Yeah, and it is a musical. The song numbers are catchy. I think it's a lot of fun. I think the movie is. You could definitely tell the upgraded budget for this movie with the animation. They definitely don't do much with the animation. It's still a lot of the same from the show. It's definitely just an extended episode of a show,
It's a
obviously.
long episode and a plot line that's already been told, mind you. His brother turned out to
Well,
that's major
well
spoilers. I'm not gonna go into that quite
yeah.
yet.
But me personally, I had a lot of fun with this. Getting to see it was funny. If you're a fan of Bob's Burgers, you're gonna like this movie. If you're not a fan of Bob's
It's just more.
Burgers, if you're not, this is not gonna convince you.
I don't know. Maybe
Uh,
start with a short version. Like the
um,
show.
no, I'm saying like, but like, here's my. The trailers were pretty misleading as well. I'd say they had you think that was just gonna be this big epic thing, kind of like the Simpsons movie.
That would have
Uh,
been good.
um, there's not that much at stake here. Well, there is, but not a cinematic threat, I guess you could say. But also,
They
do
keep it
you
simple.
do you really need that for a Bob's Burgers though? Do you really need that a big O threat like that? I don't think so.
Why did it even need to be a threat?
No, the threat. Okay. Do you want to talk about your thoughts on it before we get to spoilers?
Well, we can kind of just get into it here.
The threat is them losing the restaurant.
This isn't the first time this has happened. I mean, you go for this takes place between the 12th and 13th season, I guess. They've gone through a lot of this. They've almost lost their joint a couple of times. And with spoiler territory, the whole evil cousin thing, him turning out to be evil. Fish Shoulder's brother turned out to be evil once, but he came back as or maybe it was a younger brother. But the point is, they did this storyline already. They just made it. I didn't like how they had a reveal. This isn't the kind of franchise that needs a reveal.
Yeah, and also with me being a casual fan of the show, I didn't know who that character was.
They introduced that character for the movie.
Oh, really? Okay, never mind then. But it
Uh,
well then that's the case. Fans already knew he did it.
yeah, that character. It was pretty obvious early on. I mean,
But
eventually it's like,
but
yeah, that's the guy.
I didn't hear from that there are some characters like the detective dude. He's a pretty fan favorite character in the
Yeah,
show,
yeah.
so they liked giving him some
Marshmallow,
stuff.
the bikers.
I
Those are all established characters. They do a
my
pretty good
favorite
job.
scene though is in the with the when they go to the carnies and they're doing the Lucky Ducks. The song there is really catchy.
That's- Yeah.
And one of my favorite jokes is the dude is see, they're not cops, they're singing and dancing. Singing cops don't sing and dance like that. They dance like this. I thought that I thought that was funny. I thought with that joke they were gonna go, he's a cop because he did that.
Damn.
But yeah, overall, it's a fun time. Let's move on because
It's just a longer
we
episode.
let's try to like keep a little shorter for some of these because we're still got quite a bit to get through.
This one I have on my list next is not a movie, so
But
we will not go into that.
but it's listed as one. You put it here. Just go ahead. It's
Yeah.
been promoted as a movie. I have something on my list that's not a movie that I'm going to talk about.
South Park, The Streaming Wars. They've been knocking it pretty well with the specials they've been making.
Calling them
The
movies.
episode,
They've been calling them movies. I don't know why.
yeah, it's a little weird that they call them movies. They're much more like longer, well done episodes with a good budget. They're not on the level of live and uncut, which I'm still waiting for an actual movie like that. If they want to make another one, that one was great. But there's some excellent writing in the streaming wars. It's just more of the same. If you saw the pandemic special, the vaccine special, all those, it's more of the same. That's about it. They're funny.
All right, next one. Both of the next two we've both seen. Jurassic World Dominion. Leading up to this, I actually watched every Jurassic Park and World movie leading up to this movie's release. And it really gave me a good idea with the franchise because some of them I actually haven't fully sat down and watched before. And going into this movie, because I did not like Fallen Kingdom. Going into this movie, I did not like Fallen Kingdom. This movie was better, but still not that good because I wanted more dinosaurs roaming around. We got a little bit of that, but barely. I wanted more of that. I wanted more dinosaurs all over. It was good to see the legacy characters again, but they got them dealing with. They're not even dealing with the legacy characters. Aren't even dealing with freaking dinosaurs until like the
Yeah.
end of the movie. I'm like,
No, that's like the whole movie. Or yeah, the dealing with dinosaurs. Yeah, that takes backseat to their
yeah, they don't.
real plot
I'm
line.
like, even like they don't give the new guys that much interesting stuff to do either. Everyone feels underutilized. Everyone. Like I feel like
Even the dinosaurs.
everything feels underutilized in this movie. And it's just I feel like there's some really good ideas here, but they're not being executed in the way I want them to be. Because like there's so much you could do with this concept. There were freaking a few shorts that came out before the movie did. One in the movie theater and one in a campsite. Those were more entertaining than this because you got to see dinosaurs out in public. You get like this newscast thing that happens and
Yeah, we got
everything.
the sizzle reel.
But that's
In the
it.
trailer, it was
That's
sizzle reel.
that's it. It's like, and this is like obviously I think this movie made money though. It stayed in theaters for a pretty long time, so I imagine it was making some money. Obviously, summer blockbuster. This was gonna make money, but I think
Jurassic Park.
I think we're good on Jurassic Park for movies. Can
There's
we?
a few things. There's a few things I'd like to say
No.
about it.
I'm saying like I think we're good on the franchise. Is what I'm saying.
I want to see more, but done better. At least one more chance. This didn't scratch the itch, is what I'm saying.
I wouldn't mind a reboot
That's
or a requel.
I don't see that happening. Not with how well these movies do.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I want another Jurassic movie. I'd be good for. I'd be okay with an animated one. I've
Imagine,
been
they can
told.
name the next
I've
one
been. I've been.
Jurassic Park.
I've been told the Netflix show is really good. The animated show on Netflix. I've heard it's really good. So I would not be against an animated film. Yeah.
I don't know if they'd cover the same demographic.
Get to your thoughts so we can move on.
With this one, I'm a big Jurassic Park fan. I grew up with these movies, so seeing the legacy characters, the gang, back together and have those special moments, that's what I wanted to see with Star Wars when they got the gang back together. They didn't really get that. So it was nice that I got to see it at least here, even if it was underutilized. I don't know if it's really considered a spoiler because they kind of just
They're in
touch
the
it right
trailer.
off the
They're in
bat.
the trailer.
They're after big locusts. That's the
Oh
central plot point.
no,
Is that
that's not in the trailer.
not in the trailer, but like they get to it right off the bat.
Yeah.
The whole world's in crisis. It's already in kind of an apocalyptic setting, which isn't that interesting because of the underutilized dinosaurs.
I wouldn't even say that because they get the dinosaurs under control.
Yeah, they have them in a park of sorts,
And then we find out
a
I
sanctuary.
guess it's good to get into spoilers. We find out the freaking locusts were created by the freaking dinosaur people.
Dinosaur people, the labs. Yep, it was all part of the plan. They were trying to take out natural crops to use their GMO
Yeah,
special
just basically be
seeds.
like, it was dumb. No one wants that in a Jurassic Park movie. No one wants that. We want dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's
I
hard to
do
go
like
wrong with
I do
dinosaurs
like the
when they
realistic
did.
dinosaurs with the feathers. I did like that.
What we got with the dinosaurs was great, but it was not the majority of the movie, which was a problem.
I do like that one scene where I don't think it's Chris Pratt's character doing it. I think it's the girl doing the hand thing. And I like the what's his name? What's the original guy's name from the movie? I forgot his name. You know what I'm talking about.
Ian Malcolm.
Yeah. No, that's Jeff Goldblum's character, isn't it?
Yeah,
No, not him.
the professor.
The other dude.
Sam O'Neill's character. I can't remember his name.
But yeah,
But yeah, I know who you're
she's
talking about.
doing. I'm pretty sure it's the girl, right? It's not Chris Pratt. It's the girl. Yeah, it's the girl because it's the baby of Blue. Um,
Yeah.
so she's doing like the whole Chris Pratt handout thing, and like the dude's like this work? He's like, I want to try it. Basically, I want to try.
He
And
gets in on it, and
that
then
was
Chris Pratt gets in
that
on
was
it,
a
and they're
cute
all
little
holding their hands forward.
that was a cute little moment. Even though he liked to make fun of the handout thing, I still thought that was a nice little moment. And I do kind of like the scene where they get to the T-Rex gets to them, and like both of them say, "Don't move," and it's kind of like
Ooh,
that.
yeah,
Which one of us are supposed to say that?
handing off to the new guard.
It was more like, "Hey, that's my line." No, it's my line. So that was kind of
It's
nice.
good,
Overall,
but
though,
also mostly bad.
the movie had fun, but it could have been way better, and it had a lot more flaws than yeah.
Positives. Yeah.
So I guess we can move on to Lightyear now. But before we talk
Lightyear.
about this one, this little thing, we saw this together in person.
Saw this together
Yep,
in the after hours meetup.
this and two others that we'll get to. Um, and we'll kind of go fast on Lightyear. Um,
This movie, it was. I wouldn't say it's a disappointment because I didn't have high expectations for it.
me,
I expected better than what I saw, though.
me and
Pixar.
me personally, I didn't hate the movie. I did enjoy it. It had a lot of enjoyable moments and some good comedic time. My problem is that one, this planet that they're on is boring. It
average
is.
city.
It is so no. Like, this is the planet itself. Like it's just dirt, dirty. It's like Dagobah at some parts.
Dirt,
It's like
big
so
vines,
boring. It's like
the
I'm
cliffs.
not interested in this place. And Chris Evans as Buzz, I have nothing against. I have no problem with that. It's not supposed to be the Buzz we know from Toy Story. So
Not the toy.
that's why I'm 100% okay with it not being voiced by him. And for what the material he was given, he did a good job. Socks is funny. The cat is probably the best part of the movie. Um, Personally, it should have just been Buzz and Socks. Maybe, I think. Probably would have been a better thing if it was just Buzz and Socks, I think.
Instead of this community of
Um,
space rangers and people that aren't really super interesting.
yeah, so, and Zurg, before we get into the big thing about him, which is a spoiler, his design is, I do like the mechanized looking Zurg. I do like it. It's actually kind of
Really
cool.
modern.
I do like it. I think it looks cool.
With the portrayal of the Space Rangers, I feel like it fits the more realistic tone. But it's a movie in another universe. They could have went way more stylized in this. I'm thinking
That,
classic 90s action movie because that's when this is supposed to have been made.
yeah, because
With Stallone.
it literally opens up in the movie. It says, "This was the movie that Andy saw
This
that
movie
made
would have
him."
came out in like 94 and 95.
Ex-
They could have done a period piece.
And let's get into spoilers, I guess. The reveal that
Zurg?
Zurg is a future Buzz. I could see that making sense, but they didn't make it make sense.
This movie didn't need that kind of a twist.
Yeah, I know they probably wanted to avoid the whole Buzz is his father thing. I think they probably wanted to avoid that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I think that's why they didn't do it. They probably wanted to avoid that. So
I feel like that was
but
a
thing
slight
is,
nod.
the thing
When
is,
you
when
first see him, it's
I
like
thought
his
it was,
dad.
that's what didn't I like? Didn't I was like I said like right in the theater. I was
I
like,
mean, we all kind of went like,
oh,
it's
it's his
his
dad.
father.
I could have accepted that more than I could have. Also, that would have felt also out of left field too for the context of the movie.
That line would have made sense. So much sense, though. It just ties it into the Toy Story 2 canonical storyline.
And it's just
Buzz,
like
I am your father.
it's just like I don't know. But also, I think they also confirmed actually that I heard this recently that they decided to make the Buzz Lightyear Star Command series actually canon in universe.
No way.
I did hear that like it was kind of like maybe like a reboot. Think of it kind of like, you know how RoboCop had like the animated series. Think of it like that. I think
that was definitely a way better Buzz Lightyear property. I wish they would have taken content from that. Obviously, they avoided it.
I don't think there was any references to it. There wasn't even any LGMs.
LGMs. Yeah, I was gonna get into that. There was not a lot of just general Star Command lore or any world building for that group of people.
I did like how Buzz was constantly recording mission logs. I did like that.
Yeah, like Star Trek mission logs.
And everyone was like, no one listens to that. He's like, I know. They're telling me not to record the logs, and it's fun. That was fun. Overall, I can justifiably say
there was some good jokes.
It is a good movie, but could have been done a lot better.
Maybe it's because we got Turning Red and all of the other Pixar movies.
I really think, especially if we would have got Turning Red in theaters and got this on Disney Plus, I think a lot of people would have been more more okay with this movie. Obviously, this movie, I'm pretty sure it flopped, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, and there's like I don't. Cause a lot of people weren't okay. Let's ones that was just we've seen like by ourselves. Let's try to keep it shorter.
All right.
All right, so
I've been
you're.
trying to keep them as close as possible.
Oh,
This one is my favorite animated movie of the year.
oh wait.
Beavis and
Oh
Butthead
wait,
Do the
wait, wait,
Universe.
wait. Wait. That came out before Elvis.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Uh, yeah. This we were gonna watch this with Jazz. You remember?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, go
But he
ahead.
left before that night of. Okay. With I mean, if you like Do America, this is just an extension of that. It's got a lot of modern commentary of this decade because Do the Universe came out in the 90s.
Yeah,
Uh,
and they've been gone for a while.
it's fun. The way they brought him into now, and they're just completely belligerent in all the situations they're in. You think they're gonna do the right thing, but they never do. And maybe paper thin plot wise, like there's barely anything going on. There's a grand plot thing going on in the background. The characters don't care. And that's special to me. I love that kind of ignorance. So yeah, this was my favorite animated movie of the year, bar none.
All right, let's go into Elvis now, which I have. We also saw this in person together, and
Together.
I
Baby.
I walked. I'm not an Elvis fan. I can't even claim to be. But this movie definitely. I've always been interesting about the story Elvis's life. Though I'm not a big fan of his music or anything like that. But I'm
Oh, coming from Georgia,
so
where Elvis is.
when this movie came out, it hooked me with the trailer instantly, and I thought this was a dang great movie. Now let me explain this. If you're going into this movie expecting it to fully follow Elvis, it's more from the manager's perspective.
Tom Hanks character.
Yeah, Tom Hanks' character. But you do get some stuff from Elvis's perspective, but for the most part, the movie is from Tom Hanks' character. But overall, like getting to see like some of these like really cool, even the recreations of some of Elvis's performances on the big screen was really cool. I do think, even though I'm not an Elvis fan, there's some of his music I do like, there's some I don't like, but for the most part, it's just a lot of fun to see. And I learned things, and I had to make sure like this is all historically accurate. And I did research later, and it is. Elvis's life kind of sucked after a certain point because his manager ruined him, and it was
Yeah, the
for
Colonel.
his own personal gain, which
That's showbiz, baby.
and it's done well. It's a really well acted film. It's interesting, and I don't even think they used CG on Tom Hanks. I think it was just makeup and a suit. I
Make him
I
look
don't think I
younger
don't
or
think
older.
no for the fat he was wearing he was fat.
He was.
Yeah, they made him fat.
I don't remember seeing a big get. He was a little stout though.
But that was really
That was all him, huh?
they used makeup and a suit, a fat suit.
Oh, a fat suit. I was thinking, yeah, he was wearing a suit, but what does that have to do with anything?
No, I was on a fat suit.
Just makeup in his suit. Get him out there. He's fat.
But no, this is a really good movie, and it was definitely in my top 12, probably favorite of the year. Um,
It was good. I'll share a little bit on it. It's your typical biopic. I did enjoy it immensely. I do like Elvis. His music's pretty solid. Listen to it here and there. But it takes a lot of dramatic liberties. most of these events aren't as interesting as they appear to be, but that's movie magic. They got to do a little bit of that.
Yeah, if it's not as interesting, it's gonna make your audience bored.
There's definitely an interesting biopic that released later that took all the
I just
liberties it
realized
wanted. And
we got 3 biopics this year of really well known singers.
well known, yeah, this one, let's see, Elvis, Weird Al, and Whitney Houston,
Yeah,
which I still haven't checked that
me
last
neither,
one
but
out.
I will be going to
Uh,
see that. Okay,
But yeah, your average kind of biopic, but very well done.
all right. Our next film, which is the last one we saw together. No, it wasn't. No, it was not the last one we
Yeah,
saw together. Elvis was the
wasn't this
last.
the last one?
Elvis was the last one. Saw. We saw the black phone before we
Ah,
saw Elvis. We're on the black
the
phone now,
black phone.
and I had very high expectations for this. It is a Blumhouse movie, and it was an interesting concept. And for the most part, this movie blew me out of the water
It
because
delivers.
it delivers. It's great kid actors, which is hard to get, especially with horror movies. It has great kid actors, some great dramatic moments. Um, don't expect dramatic kills and things like that. Don't expect anything like that. Um, but the villain in this is really actually creepy.
Yeah,
Like
Ethan Hawke's character,
and like
I loved his
this is
masks.
this is like the first time he's played like a villain too,
Yeah, he's usually a goody goody
and
hero type.
he played it really well. And the movie is it can actually genuinely be scary at points. Like I was legit enjoying everything with this movie. It's not really a dull moment. I like some stuff that appears that I was not expecting to see. The guy that plays adult Eddie in It. I don't know the actor's name. He has an appearance in. He's in this, which I did not expect to see. But the movie was a lot of fun, and it's definitely uh, one of my favorite horror films of the year. Sam.
Uh, I did enjoy this movie quite a bit, but I would say it's borderline thriller in nature, a horror thriller. There's a lot at well, there's not a lot at stake, but for the character, it's life or death, and it gets pretty heavy at times. It's not an original property. It was written by Stephen King's son, I do believe. Going into it, I thought it was an original property.
Yeah, but what I've
Uh,
heard though, there's a lot of creative liberties taken.
well, it's just a short story too, so they can
The,
just use that as a
for
broad
the
outline.
most part, it's original. For the most part,
The one of the biggest problems I had with this movie is it's yet another psychic plot line that we get.
no, it isn't.
The sister, the
Oh,
dreams.
oh yeah. I think they handled that
It
well
always creeps us
better.
away.
I think they handled that better than most movies do. Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah,
uh,
but nonetheless, I don't know if it's lazy, but it's a trope at this point.
but
Like you said, the acting was on point.
but
They got
also
some
they
great kids.
they tie it in with the characters and the reason why her father is abusive. So their father is abusive, and the reason her father is
Trying to beat the
abusive,
magic out of her.
no, it's because her mom's was saying the same things, and she died. Mom was saying the same things, and so her mom had this probably had the because she got like cancer
Exactly.
or
She's trying to
something.
beat the magic out of her.
It's and
In layman's terms, that's
I
exactly what
do
is
like, and I guess
happening.
get into a little bit of spoilers. I do like at the end of the movie they don't like the siblings aren't like straight up like when their father's like they're apologizing and everything for everything. They're not just straight up like "Oh, we forgive you." They're like they just huddle together and don't say anything like the siblings do. And I'm
The
glad because
characters
most people,
take the hot seat over the plot.
yes, the movie is definitely a good. It's written well, has some fun moments, and even though the movie doesn't rely well on kills, there is a one out of this crazy kill where freaking the dude just throws the axe into his brother's head, found it's his brother,
Yeah,
and I'm like, whoa!
he found out too much.
And I was like, whoa! And
That was a big reveal, though. That was genuinely trying to put the pieces together. It was like,
it's
yes,
a good
yes,
movie
it
where
is.
you're trying to connect things. It's one of those ones where it doesn't give you everything. You're trying to audience is trying to figure it out around the same times as the cops in the movie.
They did a what job well done for that one.
Yeah.
I did enjoy the mystery
Uh,
that they presented.
all right. What is the next one? Let me make sure it's not something else all right. This one's just me. I got two that I've just seen that you haven't. Um, Thor: Love and Thunder was weak. I walked out of this movie so disappointed because after how good Ragnarok was, this movie is just way too much comedy. Way too much comedy, not enough dramatic stuff. They're trying too hard to be funny and everything, and the film suffers for it. There is some funny moments, there is some awesome moments, there is some genuinely cool moments, but this movie in general is just overall not just
Mid.
yeah, not the worst the MCU has to offer, but it's definitely a disappointment. Okay, next one is one and I also saw myself, and is definitely not a movie I thought I was going to enjoy as much as I did. This was Where the Crawdads Sing. It's based on a
Mm.
book, and I saw the trailer for it, and I was like, that looks interesting. I'm probably not going to go see it, but it looks interesting. I went and saw it, and I loved this movie. Like I people if it's not accurate to the book, people are probably love this book is probably going to come and kill me. But I thought the movie was great, and the way this movie goes about revealing some of its plot points and its story, and the main character, she is just a really good character, and the actress playing her does a really good job. And it's overall it's a good time, and I think it's very dramatic, and I don't normally watch movies like this, but I thought it was really good. Next we both saw this, and since I just talked about two of my own, I'll let you start with this one, which was
We have Nope,
uh,
Jordan Peele's latest creative works. I remember you saying you thought quite highly of this one.
I did.
I had watched the I had watched the two previous ones before watching this, as I had missed out. This isn't better than the last one, but not as good as Get Out. Honestly, it's trying to be a horror movie, but the light shots, like this movie is very bright. Most of the shots are of fields and mountains during broad daylight. And they set up all these mysteries, kind of, that even when solved, they don't mean much to the plot. Uh, like setting up dominoes and them not falling the way you want them to. Stephen Yeun was great. I wish they would have gave him more meat.
Yeah,
Thought he was.
it was good to see
I
Stephen
wanted
Yeun
more of him.
again. I haven't seen him in anything in a long time since he died in The Walking Dead. So it was really good to see him in
Uh,
something. I know he's been in other
he
stuff since
stars in
then.
Invincible.
Yeah, I know
He's quite good in that.
I know he's in a lot of things. That's two of Robert Kirkman's properties he's been in.
Oh yeah, he made both of those. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Guess I'll get into my this. Like Sam said, I did think really highly of this movie because I think Jordan Peele is a really good horror movie maker, and I really enjoyed the direction this movie. Sam said the movie is too right at points. And
Really light.
one of my thing is there's some dark, not like dark in subject matter, but like dark scenes in this movie where I can't really tell what's going on at points. Um, and I walked out of it.
Excuse
I walked out of this movie, really enjoyed it, and I thought it was. I don't think it was better than either Us or Get Out because I still think Us is probably my favorite Jordan Peele movie so
me.
far. I'm very curious to see what he's gonna do next. Um, but I really enjoyed this movie. The cast, I don't remember the main guy's name, but he was also in Get Out, and I really liked his performance there, and I really
Daniel
liked it,
Kaluuya.
and I really liked him here. And I think the next, who was the Kiki
Kiki
Palmer?
Palmer. I don't like Kiki Palmer.
I don't
She was
remember.
tolerable
I
in
don't
this
remember
movie,
what
but I
else I've
don't like
seen
her.
her in, but I know her voice from somewhere. And like, yeah,
She had a Disney Channel background. That's where I mostly got to know her.
she's just wasn't. I didn't hate her or anything, but she does have a little bit of too much of a over the top personality, I guess I could say.
It doesn't mesh well with Daniel Kaluuya's character. He's very sad and kind of a
There are
fuddy
times
duddy.
there are times where he wants you can tell this guy's like on his face he's like I want this girl to
I
shut
want to
up.
strangle you. Yeah.
And also the weird like backstory stuff. I'm not gonna give it away that we get from Stephen Young's character. Really weird, but I like it.
I the problem I had with it was the lack of importance.
Yeah,
It's a
but
red herring.
still, I still like it. It's
It was
interesting.
interesting.
It was very interesting. But I think that's all. I don't want to really go into spoilers about this because I do think people should go watch it for themselves. They haven't seen it. This one I do not want to give any spoilers for.
I would like to go with a little bit of a spoiler tag just for the final scene. The big reveal the alien sucked. It was
Why?
like a
Why
balloon,
would
and
you?
then they defeat it with a balloon.
Why would you reveal that it's an alien?
I just said spoilers.
Okay. All
I
right.
wouldn't just blurt it out. Yeah.
Next
Anyways,
is
yeah.
I don't know which one of these came out first. Because both of them the one on your list and the one that's on my list. I have not.
What's your
Uh,
what's yours?
when did I'm looking at the date for mine. When did Nope? I mean, not when did Prey come out?
Let's see. Da, 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 da. No, that's Pray for the Devil. That's the Great Plains. And July or no, August 5th.
All right, so that was first before my next one. So you go talk about that.
Prey is a sequel to the Predator movies and one of the best ones.
Prequel. I do know it's not.
Okay, a
I do.
prequel.
Yeah, for all of
A
them.
prequel to the Predator movies. Yeah, it takes place 200 years or something. It's funny because the end of the second one actually has a tie that brings these movies together for the continuity. It's another Predator movie. It was really well done, and there's a lot of nods to the franchise, specifically the original. And it's believable that a Indian tribe could take down a predator just because when you think about it, Arnold hits some dumb luck, and there's some dumb luck in this as well.
I
I
heard.
liked it.
I heard this movie. I do want to bring up something. I heard that this movie, like, they wanted the entire cast and crew, and I think it was pretty much the entire cast and crew was of the actual the tribe that was being betrayed.
I did not know
Which
that.
was really cool. I really liked that little bit of trivia there. I thought that was really cool. And it's the only movie because like they released another dub of the movie. It's the only movie that's ever been dubbed in that tribe's native language.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's really cool. I thought that was really cool.
Recommended
And
as
the
a
and
fan
the th-
of the Predator
and the
movies.
thing is, the dub is done by the same people who.
Oh,
So that's because they are all. It's really cool.
I like that.
You don't see stuff like that very
I did.
often.
I do like the idea of Indians versus aliens. Cool idea.
All right, my turn for a movie I've seen this year that Sam has not. And personally, this is probably my favorite DC movie of the year, and that was DC's
Uh,
League of Super Pets. I loved this movie. It was funny, it was well written. This is what I like. It's not trying to connect to anything, it's its own thing, and it is just fun. It is dumb fun. And for Pete's sake, we already know The Rock and Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart work really well off of each other. And here is just the same. And also, some of the other characters are really funny. Lex Luthor's in this movie, and it's a very nice take on Lex Luthor. And also, the Justice League is in this movie as well. And a lot of their takes on these characters are really interesting. Like Cyborg. I've had to say Cyborg.
it's a Big Ten for you.
Um, Cyborg has a giant afro that I just love. It's hilarious. Like it's huge. And like for Pete's sake, Batman is literally voiced by Keanu Reeves. Like
Awesome.
that is. I'm glad we live in a timeline where we can say Keanu Reeves voices Batman.
Batman.
And the movie's got some dark lines too. There's like a scene where Superman's like petting Crypto and like loving on him and everything, and Batman just goes, "I miss my parents," and I'm like, "Oh dang, that's kind of dark." And it's funny. The movie's just funny. You don't get like a lot of animated like domestic pet movies nowadays. Not counting Secret Life of Pets. Those were not.
Yeah.
And we used to get movies like this all the time, and I kind of missed that. And it was really cool. I grew up watching the Crypto animated series on Cartoon Network back in the day. So getting to see this character back is a lot of fun. And
Oh yeah, I watched a little bit of that too.
and the fact that Dwayne Johnson was also going to be in another DC property playing Black Adam. There's actually a post credit scene that pokes at that. Um, it's funny. It's definitely, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's a very fun animated film. All right. The next thing is a movie I saw but you didn't, which I'm still telling you, Sam, you need to see this movie. Was Bullet Train.
Oh
Bullet
yeah, with
Bullet Train.
Brad Pitt.
Bullet Train was something I thought like I thought it looked cool, but like it was one of those movies like I'm not gonna go see that. But I was going to go see Back to the Future. Like I said, that was being shown at my theater that day. I don't want to see Back to the Future on the big screen. So I had like 3 hours till Back to the Future started. So I was like, I'm gonna watch Bullet Train. And this movie is just a fun, good time. It knows when to take itself seriously. It knows when to take itself completely ridiculous. It is a fun time, some fun action, fun comedy, and that's all I'm gonna say here. So we can just move on and get a little further. So we are already past 2 hours.
Oh dang. Yeah, we need to.
Speed up a
I
bit.
got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, over a dozen left.
Yeah, we'll get through these though. I think we saw more. Yeah, we'll get through them. We're not pre-
Body or yeah.
we're not pressed for time at the moment, are we?
No, but 2 hours is pretty long.
All right. Hope as long as we can get this done within the next like 45 minutes or the next hour should be fine. I don't want to be like 5 hours.
Yeah, we should be able to do that.
All right.
Yeah, we'll try to keep it under that.
Bodies, bodies, bodies. Sam, why don't you start? You didn't like this one that much.
It yeah, I thought it was gonna be something else going into it. I did like the big reveal at the end. I'm not gonna go into that quite yet. But yeah, the characters are not that likable, so it's not a problem that they just continuously die left and right. I do like Pete Davidson. I did enjoy his brief time in the movie. I wish they wouldn't have killed him off as soon as they did. Uh, but it was a weird situation. I didn't enjoy it that much. There's not a lot of reasons why either. It's just it kind of fell flat on me. Maybe it's because I had bigger expectations for it.
Me personally, I really liked this movie. One thing I do have a problem with before I actually talk about my full on thoughts, it was being described by some people as like a uh not necessarily a modern day Scream, but definitely that vibe. And I was like, I
There was a
could,
lot of woke
but the thing
culture.
is, I can agree with that if we weren't getting new Scream movies now.
The
Those are the
modern day Scream movie is not Scream, it's this other movie.
anyway. This is a movie that actually I feel like I enjoyed a lot because of the characters was one of my favorite attributes because you're not supposed to like them. You're not supposed to. And that's the thing. Like everyone's like second guessing each other. And one character I do really like, it's the older guy that's there. He's like the
Yeah,
like
he
he's
was
just
meant to
there.
be.
He's just there. Like he's like, I'm just here to chill. And he's older than them. He's a lot older than
Yeah,
them.
Lee Pace's character.
They're
Yeah,
like,
you're supposed to kind of like him. Like
and
he
like
knows what's up.
he's the fish out of water. Like I'm hanging around with these
He's put together.
younger kids and or
Younger
young
20
adults.
somethings.
Yeah. And it's enjoying his time there and everything. And it's a lot of fun. Like, and especially like when they, I really want to go into spoilers. I'll get into spoilers in a minute. Overall, I think the one chick, like the chick that dude's date as a quote unquote dating, I like her because she's just funny. I think she's funny. I really do. There are characters in the
What
movie.
do you think?
There are
Oh, go ahead.
characters in this movie I do not like. Like, I don't remember the one chick, but the one chick that's questioning everything and everyone. I don't remember her name. I don't remember any of the characters' names actually. Um, but um, but you know what I'm talking about?
Is it the one
Not the main couple.
the
Not the main couple. The other, and not the chick that's dating Pete Davidson's character. The other chick. I
is
don't.
it the one with the pit hair?
No,
I was going to ask you what you thought of that. I don't know if it's that character though.
character I'm talking about is the one that keeps warning the girl about the other girl. I don't remember the names.
That's they're kind of all doing that. Don't trust each other.
Um,
He got it.
I,
Oh, he
I'm
definitely
gonna get
did
into
it.
spoilers to say the chick that has the gun.
What about her?
You know what I'm talking about? Her.
Yeah, she
She's the one that
has a
I didn't
accent.
really like her, but I also like.
That's the drunk one.
You're really
The sloppy drunk one.
no. That's the one I liked.
Oh,
The girl that wore the girl that wore the girl that wore the freaking the glow sticks the whole time. That I liked her.
okay. Yeah.
Anyway,
Character.
most of these characters were just I didn't either I just didn't straight like them or I enjoyed them. Most characters you're not supposed to like anyone in this movie, I don't think, except for maybe the one dude that already brought up
And Lee
spoilers.
Pace's character. Yeah.
one of my favorite things is like when they wake him
That's
up and he
why
doesn't know what's going on and he thinks they're still playing and he's like trying to play along. that was fun. I thought that was a lot of fun. And then he realizes that something's
he
actually
played
going
it
on.
up.
And to get into the big
I,
spoilers, the ending of the movie, it reveals that they literally
the
basically all just
twist
killed themselves.
was I liked the twist.
There was no
If
killer.
anything I liked about this movie, that twist was great. They accidentally killed each other.
Yeah,
One of them went as far as to kill one of the other characters.
literally, yeah, Pete
He's
Davidson's
panicked.
character was trying to open a bottle with a katana and accidentally slit his own throat.
Slits his
Trying to film
own
a
neck.
TikTok. Trying to film a TikTok.
Yeah, he freaking tries to slide it upwards rather than outwards because the Lee Pace's character, the manly man, had done it previously. So he's like, I could do that. I'll film
Overall,
it
I could
on the
see
internet.
I could
Can't
see
do it.
this becoming like people's like nowadays. This could be them like their Scream. You know what I mean?
I could see that. Yeah,
Like that's
there definitely is a lot of
there's
the
definitely a lot
modern
of
culture.
definitely. I like the realization like when they're out and they're fighting over the phone and they find the phone. It's like, and that's supposed to be a commentary on like when the phone's too much. Instead of them fighting over the actual gun, they're like fighting over the phone.
Hmm.
And like it's just interesting. I think the movie could have done some things better, but let's move on to the next thing. I don't know if my thing something you've seen. Let's see. Oh yes, Orphan First Kill. Let's have you since you saw it before I did.
I will give it that it taking place. They made this a prequel, yet the 9-year-old actor that played Esther in the original had aged into her early 20s. That was a weird choice that they would do a prequel, and there was no CG done, all makeup.
Makeup and perspective shots.
It was semi-convincing.
Yeah.
But outside of that semi-convincing effect, you had a pretty mediocre horror sequel. It doesn't do anything as well as the first one.
Really?
It's kind of retelling. Did you like First Kill?
I would not say it was retelling because
It treads a lot of the same.
because
Oh yeah,
the
halfway through they
no,
turn it
not
on
even
its head.
half. Not even half. That's not even halfway through. That's like I'd say a quarter through.
I feel like it hit the note that horror movies typically take when they hit balls to the wall, which is about the 33-minute mark out of a 90-minute movie.
But yeah, overall, I had a lot of fun with this movie. I think it was a good time. It's not as good as the first. Don't get me wrong.
Not even
Uh,
close.
Not even close. Now the thing is, it does retread on some things, and we'll get to that in the spoiler section. But there's a lot that it does its own thing. Because the difference is here, and this is in the trailers. I can talk about this without saying spoiler alert. She's impersonating a child that went missing instead
Well, I
of
mean,
just
anybody who's
impersonating.
seen.
No. I'm saying how it's different from that. Instead of
Oh,
her
from this
pretending to
one.
her
The
pretending of
original.
being her pretending to be a kid, she's still pretending to be a kid, but she's pretending to be an existing kid. That's different.
Dead kid.
But the thing is that straight up, the reveal, and we'll get the spoilers now. Straight up, like the mom and freaking brother are basically who killed the kid,
They're in cahoots.
and so they're
Her
like,
son accidentally killed her sister.
we know you're not my daughter because she's freaking dead. And
They get
that's
into this pretty quick, by the
yeah.
way.
I'm like, I'm glad they did because I was like, oh, we're gonna do the same thing over again. With
Yeah.
and it doesn't even get
I did like the turns it had.
it doesn't even get to the point where I thought it was gonna go, where she was gonna try to seduce the dad like she did in the other one. 'Cause I thought it was gonna go there again too. But then it's just no, she's just legit just trying to be a daughter to this man. That's all. She's not trying to get to him in that way. Obviously, we know later down the road she does, but
He gets in it.
but and I don't know how big of a time gap this is between this and the original. I don't know how what.
I think it's like a year or two. It picks up pretty fast.
So we know she goes through a few other foster families before, and they
Yeah,
all
she's got the whole book.
yeah. But overall, I don't think it's as good as the first, but I still think it's a good time.
Yeah, if you're gonna watch the original, I guess might as well watch this one too. But I'd still watch the original first.
All right, we're on a horror trail for right now, which is Barbarian.
This one was really, really weird, the route they took.
Definitely. The trailer did not convey what it was like at all, and that's a good thing in my opinion.
I mean, you got this pretty serious tone for a movie going on, and then bam, they just switch up the mood entirely.
Halfway through the movie, we switch to a completely new character.
We were building so much tension up to this point, and to have it just sliced in half with comedic moments.
I'm like, what are we?
Crazy.
I legit thought for a second there, like something happened at my theater. They accidentally played a different movie or something. I legit thought
Justin Long singing along in his convertible.
I was like, for the most part, like, don't take this movie. What you see in the trailer is not what you get, because it is definitely not what you see coming.
Yeah, they show just kind of one bit of the movie. That's why the turn, I don't know if you'd call it a twist, worked so effectively. And it's teetering between laughs and general suspension and uncomfortability were so well done.
Uh-huh.
It is a movie that
and
sets
actually
the mood.
The reveal of like what's going on here is one of the weirdest reveals I have ever seen in a horror movie. Can't say I hated it, but I was like, huh? There is.
I mean, it is the South.
I'm not. Oh, shut up.
It takes place there.
Shut up. No, it doesn't. We talked about this. It takes place in like Chicago or something like that.
Oh yeah.
So shut up.
Detroit.
Yeah, it was Detroit. So shut up. But there is one thing that really interested. I thought was funny. I want to bring up. I don't think we got to go into spoilers for this one. But there's a joke that I am going to give away because it's my favorite part in the movie. There's like this homeless guy who's sure like, I've been here for years. I ain't never gonna, and it ain't found me yet.
Oh, that was
and
great.
it bumps in, and it's like right as he says that, I'm like, I know that's normally like a cliche. That like it's like, oh yeah, it's a cliche that we all get sick of it. But the way that the line, the way it was delivered, the dude was just sort of like, I ain't found me yet, and it just it's if you've seen the movie, you know.
They immediately changed the mood.
All right. Our next is Pearl.
I would like to touch up on the scene I thought was quite memorable and funny to me. It was when Justin Long's character discovers the basement and he's going with the tape measure. He finds the torture room, and he's freaking out how much space he's got. Oh, I thought that was hilarious.
All right, next is Pearl, which is the prequel to X. I don't think I've ever seen that before. You really get a sequel and a prequel to something in the same year. Well, not a sequel, but you get a movie and a prequel in the same year. I've never seen that before.
Original properties too.
Uh-huh. So, what did you think of Pearl?
I thought the pacing was quite bad. The setting was interesting. Mia Goth did a really good job with her just kind of uncomfortableness. obviously she's dealing with something, and it's having a hard time coming out. The repeated scenes of seeing the pig, the roast,
Uh-huh.
deteriorate through the movie was a nice touch.
Uh,
But I thought it was slightly above average.
there's a lot of things I want to comment on, but like I'm not gonna go through all of it because of time, time and everything.
Time
But
constraints.
there a few things I will touch upon. I do like the time that it sets it in, um, and I think the reason they set it exactly when they did was not a coincidence. Um, another time when there was a virus going around,
Yeah.
I was like, I see what you did there. I see why y'all did that. Y'all had. There's no way you didn't do that for that reason. Not gonna go into details on that, but you can connect the dots. I thought that was a little interesting. Also, they don't really dive in as much into the adult film as you would think they would. There's a little bit of it in here, but I don't think it'd be a big thing for them to really do it because that really wasn't part of Pearl's character. Because obviously it's still Mia Goth, but different character. But my big thing with this movie is like a lot of people were going into this expecting a slasher. Another
I
one.
was hoping for one too, instead of a psychological horror movie.
I was not
There's only a
expecting.
couple
I
kills.
was not expecting a slasher because I had a feeling this is a prequel. It's showing. I was not expecting a prequel at all. They some things I would have preferred to be done a different way, definitely, and I do prefer X, but I would not go as far as say above average. I would say it's good. I would say this is a good movie, and I think I'm hoping Maxine, which will be the sequel to
X.
the X, will be
Spelled with three
yeah.
X's.
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it?
Maxxxxine.
I wonder. My thing is, I wonder if that's even going to be a horror movie. How are you going to horror that?
That would be interesting if they didn't.
It would be, but
That would be quite a crazy trilogy.
it would be.
I don't know if that's a good thing though.
Yeah, I'm curious, but there's no way of knowing until it comes out. All right. Oh
We got the same
no.
one. We're
Oh
talking the
no.
worst movie I've ever seen to date.
The worst movie of the year, and definitely probably the worst horror movie I've ever seen. Uh,
Jeepers
why don't
Creepers
you want to
Reborn.
start with this one, song?
I'll start with this one. There is it's
No.
hard. Usually I can find one or two positive qualities about a movie. This one doesn't have it. There
That
was one good okay, there was one good kill. That's it.
I w-
Not even a great kill. It's
no,
like you're struggling to find anything good.
no, I couldn't find it.
There's
There
one.
was nothing good. I was there's a thing. Okay. I know this movie was made
During the
during
pandemic, so
and
they had
so
to take
so
a
there
lot of
is
liberties.
there is but thing is there were other movies that were also
Don't pick a setting where there has to be a lot of people. That's
exactly.
rule
It
one.
looks so empty. This movie looks so empty. And okay,
There's a
before we continue, I should probably go ahead and mention like the thoughts on the actual franchise as a whole. Personally, like I'm not gonna get into the whole creator and all that. I've talked about that enough
we
in
all
the reviews. We ain't got to talk about
yeah.
that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it. Um,
No, 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 no. Just know he's really bad. It's
uh,
quite a true human horror to read it.
um,
Very
um,
disheartening.
but I don't hate that franchise. Uh, it's got some redeeming qualities to it. It's a separating art from
They
the
get
artist
worse
thing.
progressively.
Personally,
The first one's
like
definitely
I
solid.
like I said
I
in
like
the
the
first my reviews of them, the first one is my favorite. I mean, the second one's my favorite, and the first, and third. and then this one.
The acting's bad. The kills are
The
mediocre. The
CG's
plot
bad,
line, it's just there's
bad
and
green
it's boring.
screen. It's
To
so
top it all off,
boring.
it's boring.
And well, can we talk about the Creepers redesign?
It's it was to make it cheaper or something.
It looked really
It
bad.
didn't look. And the Creeper's already a pretty simple
And the
design.
only thing that is really interesting about this movie, and I don't care about spoiling any of this, by the way, because I don't recommend you go watch it. I don't. Only
Good
that's
note.
anything that's slightly anything interesting to me was when they showed the creeper first emerging from his hibernation. That was
Yeah.
the only thing. I was like, that's neat. But then it also just looks like a freaking. It still looked bad. And there's characters that are there's a couple that you're following throughout the movie, and then like she gets a call from like her friend, and then that she gives him he gives her like some advice something, and then he gets killed. Like this guy was just there to add a body on the kill count, and I was like,
Then there was the character that got captured by the Creeper. You think he's dead. They bring him back just so they can kill him immediately.
wait,
What
what?
was the point of
Wait,
that?
I don't remember
You don't
that.
remember that in the Creeper's van? Our main chick gets thrown in the van. One of the previous
That's
kills that had happened.
that's Jeepers Creepers 3.
Is it?
That was 3. He didn't have the truck
You
in
sure?
this one.
I thought that was like the main thing.
No, he
Or
didn't.
was he just flying around the whole time in this movie?
No, they were in a freaking building for 90% of the movie.
They were at that festival for a good bit, yeah.
No, they're
Damn,
literally in a building.
this movie sucked.
Yeah, because you're mixing up with the movies that actually had some merit to them.
Barely any.
Like
But still
I
fun.
was like, how did I was like when after we watched me and Sam literally because we've heard this movie was really bad before we went into it, and we were like, they literally was like it can't be worse than 3.
You're right. I think I wiped most of this movie from my memory.
I wish I could have done that. It's a but,
This is one I'll never watch again.
oh, same here. The movie,
I hope to never cross the path of this stinker.
like your family's watching it or something. You're like, oh no.
Yeah, turn that off.
It's garbage. But
It sucks
that is
time away for free.
that is the worst movie of the year. Maybe even the worst I've
I can say it's the
ever
worst one
seen.
I've ever seen.
Definitely the worst horror movie, at least. All right. Hey, we go from a horrible. Wait, no, you got to move before that. Don't worry, darling. That's you. I haven't
Don't
seen
worry,
that.
darling. There's just a little bit I'd touch on. The setting started out great. There's a mystery to it. It's a thriller type beat. There's a twist at the end. The acting's good, but not good enough to make the script interesting. And they play their hand too fast. They give up the cards, and it's like, what am I even here for anymore? The weird music, maybe a little bit. For the weird shots, there was some of that too. I wouldn't recommend it.
All right. Let's move on. I think if we could probably knock these out pretty fast. Don't want to rush them, but because we've got us a few probably between the both of us probably 10 more.
Yeah, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay. I've got ones that you don't have. Yeah, I've only got a handful left, so. All right, this is the one we both saw. We went from a really crappy horror movie to a pretty dang good one.
And that
Smile.
would be Smile.
Can I start with this one?
Yeah, go for it.
So Sam was on my butt about this movie. He kept saying, he's like, VGR, you gotta go see it. Go see it. Why haven't you seen it yet? That's basically.
Okay, I might have overhyped it a little bit.
He very much overhyped this movie. I was going into this thing expecting this was going to be the best movie I saw this year. It was not that, but
It
it was
was
still really good.
really good.
It was eerie, uncomfortable. I liked
Ticks
the
boxes.
music was really good, very fit the tone. The cinematography was great, and I thought the movie overall was just a great time. That being said, let's just say one thing I don't like about this movie is later on they show what the thing it's doing everything looks like.
Oh man, that's like
That's
my
not a.
favorite part.
I hate the design of that thing, and I wish they would have showed us what it looked like. I think it takes away the creep factor. I really don't. I was not a big fan of that. I just that was my main gripe with the movie. But overall, I think it was a good horror flick, and I think it's definitely one of the best of the year. Sam,
I've got something to say about this, but nothing too different. Mostly positive. I will say it kind of treaded old ground. It's very much like The Ring.
The Ring meets Truth or
It
Dare meets It
follows Truth or
Follows.
Dare. You got all of these.
It's literally those three movies
Uh,
molded together.
I don't necessarily like it for the story. It's mostly the action or the sequences in the movie. There's so many good ones that it made me feel a certain way. It was ticking the boxes that I want in a horror movie. I personally like the monster's design quite a bit. The thing tears its own face off and then just kind of consumes with its smile. Most of the kills are suicide related.
Well, that's literally like what the whole creatures thing is. First, I think the most effective scare is the first one when you see it for the first time. I think that's the.
I don't know that
I was
the
genuine.
walking out to the car scene. That one got me. It
Uh,
gave you a certain uncomfortableness when a neck swivels like that.
yeah, but that was given away in the trailer.
I didn't see that trailer.
I did.
I only saw some of the mass marketing for it because it was everywhere.
All right,
So luckily, I didn't get spoiled.
let's move on. Which this is one Sam hasn't seen, but I have. Terrifier 2. I reviewed the whole franchise of this with the All Hallows Eve movies and the first Terrifier leading up to this release. And boy, is this movie insane! It is a. It is. You thought the first movie was gory. This movie it goes into some weird territory though, with some of its mytho. I'm not gonna try to give away too much because of I don't want Sam hasn't seen it yet. Um,
Yeah, no spoilers.
it goes into some weird territory with like I guess like the mythology of what Art the Clown really is. Because it's really unclear what he is, but also you know he's not necessarily human. Um, but the main lead in this movie, she's a teenager, but she's like played by like a I think she's like I talked about it in my review. She's a lot older than she looks. I don't remember exactly how old she is, but she's a lot older than she looks. Um, but yeah, overall the movie is a crazy gore fest, and is I'm surprised I got to see it on the big screen. It's like a lot stuff like this doesn't normally go to theaters, so that was a big shock when I saw it was going to theaters. So I really enjoyed that. All right, next is one I only one I saw. and that was Lyle Lyle Crocodile. And I went and saw this because one, I literally only got one musical this year, and I don't even remember what it was. I talked about it earlier. What was it? Bob's Burgers. That was the only other musical we got this year. And when I saw the trailer for this, and I also learned not that long ago, it was based
Actually, Pinocchio was a musical.
the
The Guillermo del Toro one.
I would have known that. I would have been watched it.
I did not go into it knowing that.
Um,
So I was quite surprised.
I need to watch that. But anyway, Lyle Crocodile was probably like one of my not my favorite movie of the year. Obviously, there's so much better movies than this that came out this year, but it was probably my favorite theater experience of the year. Because I took my niece and nephew to see this movie, and they straight up loved it, and maybe that influenced my thought process on it a little more, because seeing them love it. But then again, I watched it again not that long ago, um, with a buddy of mine, and he really liked it, and I still liked it. I think I actually liked it a little more this time, actually, because one, the songs are catchy as heck. They are, and because I thought when I found it, because I didn't know at first when I saw the trailer, when I heard it was Shawn Mendes playing Lyle, I thought it was going to be a jukebox musical. But no, all the songs are original.
Ah,
I really thought
that's always a plus.
I really thought, so you think that you hear like Shawn Mendes is in this, you think jukebox musical. That's what came to my mind. So, but no, it was it was a heartfelt story, and there's actually been a song from the movie called "Take a Look at Us Now." I have been listening on nonstop since I've seen that movie. I love it. I love that song. It's just a lot of fun, and the CG is pretty good too. Um, and I don't know why I'm going to point this out, but I think it's the first movie we've had where you see a PS5 in it. I don't know why I'm going to point that out, but it is. I think that's kind of
What
funny.
was that movie with the My Little Pony? Black Widow. That was also one of those occasions. Got the current generation.
Didn't make
And it
sense.
takes place in like the 90s.
That didn't make sense. Though with Black Widow, this takes place in modern day. La Hero takes place in modern day. It's a good movie and it's a lot of fun. And if I recommend it a lot. I love little cute little musicals like this. And this is one of the movies where like my critic mind just gets turned off, and I just don't care what anyone thinks. It's like, because I loved this movie, and I don't think it's the best thing ever, but this is more of one of those I say is like, I know it's not as good as some other things, and it's probably pretty generic compared to a lot of other stuff. But for me, it's gonna be one of my guilty pleasures from now, and I cannot wait to pick it up on Blu-ray. And what's our next one? Oh, everyone hated
Yeah.
this. Not everyone, but Halloween Ends.
Halloween ends. The end of the timeline, maybe. The end of the franchise, probably not.
Probably not.
I feel like
But let it
Halloween
be.
Kills was
But let
an
it
end
be.
point.
But let it be. Let it be the last one, please. If you want to do anything with the Halloween franchise,
Not me.
give us something Season of the Witch. If along with
I
that.
would like to see maybe
Oh,
it wouldn't be a requel. They could just make
actually,
a sequel.
a fun fact, actually, and I'm not even gonna try to jump around spoilers for this one. I think everyone knows this one. I wanted to see it. Um, apparently, Season of the Witch was gonna tie into this at one point in one draft of the script. Do you hear me, Sam?
Hmm?
Season of the
What'd you say?
Witch was originally going to was in one version of the script was going to tie into Halloween Ends.
Really?
Yeah, That shocked the heck
Wasn't
out of
there
me.
wasn't there a reference to it?
Not in this one.
I feel like
There wasn't
we
Halloween
saw the masks in one of them.
in
Was it one of the
2018
new ones?
and Kills.
There
You
you
saw
go.
it in both of them. It was it was
Said
good. It was literally going to canonize Season of the Witch, or at least like that plot line. Maybe not that movie, but anyway, let's talk about the movie itself. This was one of my most anticipated horror movies of the year, obviously being a massive Halloween
it
fan.
I mean, it was a big movie.
And obviously, I guarantee it made its budget back and it made the money that Blumhouse probably wanted it to make. I bet you it did. Um, but most fans were not happy with this entry. Me personally, I didn't hate it, but I had a lot of problems with it. My problem is with this movie is it's not even the fact that Michael's not in it a lot, which yes, that is a problem, but that's not what really is the problem
Yeah.
for me. That's not really what the problem is for me. It's just the fact that like some of the stuff is rushed. Like the romance between what's the kid's name again? What's the guy's name? I forgot his name. But anyway, Corey, that's it. It's Corey. Corey and
Yeah. Yeah.
Allison.
And
That feels so
the
rushed and
granddaughter.
forced. It it doesn't feel natural. Now I do feel like Jamie Lee Curtis's character has done pretty good for this movie. It's good for them to finally have her kind of at
Some
peace,
closure.
some closure,
Yeah.
and everything, and to see her not obsessing throughout most of the movie. And well, I will say this movie has a great ending for Halloween Kills.
Yeah. It
this
kinda just closed out the gap.
this would have worked for an ending, and that tagline, "Evil dies tonight," would have made a lot of sense. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I'm not worried about not spoilers for this. I cannot lie and say that I was not satisfied seeing Michael get crushed in that grinder. That was really satisfying to see. Like, okay, we actually in one of these timelines, not gonna bring up Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Yeah, it's a different
Um,
timeline.
um, Good to see him actually be killed. And there's no way, like, he's dead. He is dead. Like, yeah, if you want to reboot the franchise in the future, that's you. But for this timeline, he is dead.
But yeah, then they immediately had somebody to fill his shoes.
Oh,
Would they really go as far as to make a lazy copycat for a sequel?
uh,
Maybe.
I hope not. I hope this is the end of this. If you want to reboot it, fine. But I hope this is the end of the Blumhouse trilogy. And let's leave it as a
Yeah, it
trilogy.
doesn't need to go any further.
I didn't
I
hate this
didn't like
movie.
it nearly as much. I didn't hate it, but, like, I didn't like it nearly as much as I liked Kills. And I know that's not a popular opinion, but hey, we've seen a lot of different incarnations of Michael, and at the end of the day, I was wanting more violence out of the property, and they delivered.
And here's something that does
And
bother
this one
me.
fell flat because that was grand, and this was just kinda
My problem with
small in
One of
scale.
my big problems with Michael in this movie is the fact that he freaking Corey just goes up and steals his mask. I get
It's a
it.
decrepit old
I
man.
get it. Michael's weak, but I don't think he let someone just steal his mask like that. We see him go toe to toe with Lori later in the movie. Anyway, let's move
Yeah,
on.
he's barely there. The next one, what do you got?
I got Black Adam. When did Weird Al come out?
Let us see.
Because
I know it came out way before when it went to the film fest.
well, when
Do
did
you
it?
do you know the
When
word?
did it come out on Roku?
On the Roku channel?
Because that's the official release date for it.
November 4th.
Okay, mine's first, which is Black Adam. I like this movie. I had fun with it. It's different. But here's my thing about that. And now the movie's kind of got I can't believe I'm letting this bother me because the fact of like where DC is headed now that basically this movie has no significance anymore because they literally confirmed The Rock is out. He's not coming back to play this character ever again. And also they confirmed that after credit scene, spoiler, sorry, that Henry Cavill is also not coming back. So that was a bit of a kind of
Yeah,
that
canned.
kind of tainted my like of the movie, but I really shouldn't let that bother me. I actually do hope when the actual movie comes out on Blu-ray, they remove that after credit scene. I really do. But if they don't, they don't. Maybe make it a special feature on the Blu-ray or something. But take it out of the credits, you know. Overall,
Not a lot they can do with that.
I think the movie is fun. It is cool seeing The Rock play a superhero that doesn't really know, or a super villain, technically, whatever, that doesn't understand modern day and all that. But I feel like we've seen that somewhere before. I'm not certain, but it's overall just a fun time. It's nothing great. It's definitely better than some of the other superhero movies we got this year. That's not saying much. But that's all I'm gonna say about
Yeah, really. Yeah.
that.
The Batman was a gem, but yeah.
Wait, when did you say Weird Al came out?
November 4th.
Okay, so my next movie is November 11th. So you go.
Weird Al is probably the best music biopic or biopic I've seen in general. It's a parody of the genre itself. And you got Daniel Radcliffe as Weird Al. He doesn't look much like him, but damn it, does he do a good job. If you're a fan of Weird Al or just a fan of movies, ones that haven't really treaded familiar ground, I definitely watch this one.
And also, if you're a fan of Daniel
I just
Radcliffe,
Oh yeah, he does some pretty good movies outside the Harry Potter
yeah,
franchise.
a lot of people
I
forget.
prefer that
A lot
part
of
of his
a
career.
lot of people just forget, like, oh yeah, he does other things.
Yeah,
He
he
probably
is Harry Potter.
he
I mean, he
probably
did 7 of those
he
movies.
probably no, he did 8 movies.
Oh yes, The Deathly Hollows Part 2.
Yeah, those are yeah. Okay, I haven't seen it, so I have no comments. I do need to watch it though. My next movie
Highly
is
recommend. Wakanda
Wakanda
Forever?
Forever. And this movie restored my faith in the MCU. Because I was starting to get to the point Sam was at. Um, but then this movie came out.
Franchise fatigue.
Then this movie came out. I loved this movie a lot more than the original Black Panther because I already didn't love that movie. But this movie is a really good send off to the character of T'Challa, and also just a good love letter to Chadwick Boseman. Like the movie is literally such a love letter to that character, and um, I like they were so respectful to the character and the actor by not recasting him or anything like that. I am super happy about that. And the movie itself is just a fun time. It has some of the MCU comedy you expect, but a lot of this movie is pretty serious. And that's what I like. What Thor: Love and Thunder should have done. Um,
Like maybe they should have met in the middle.
yeah, but no, this actually like it had its comedy, but definitely gave it. It was a serious movie, and that's definitely why it did the. The villain was actually really interesting. I think they did a really good job with that, and I just overall thought it was a great time at the movies, and I enjoyed it. And did I see this in 3D? I don't remember.
Yes.
Did I tell you I saw it in 3D?
No.
Oh, I think I saw it in 3D. Don't quote me on that, but I think I saw it in 3D. Multiverse of Madness I did see in 3D. I forgot to mention that. All
Saw
right.
that one at home. Skipped it in the theater.
All right. When did Pinocchio come out?
December 9th, I think.
Okay, then.
Yep. December 9th. Right on.
Okay, then you put two movies out of order.
Okay. It says November 9th too, but it says United States and then it says Netflix. What does that mean?
They're released on Netflix in the US.
Oh, okay. I guess different distribution elsewhere. I guess in the United States too, so it would have been November 9th.
Oh, well. Then that came out in December here.
On Netflix.
Well, that's where we got it, so that's where we're gonna put it. And it's also a Netflix original too. But well,
Yeah.
that's what we'll put.
Always touch
So
accent.
real quick, Tom, let's talk about Violent Night.
Ah, yes, Violent Night.
We'll let you start it off.
Home Invasion Santa Claus. This movie was a tremendous amount of fun. Just from the plot alone, I mean, you got Santa Claus trying to protect a family at Christmas. You may hate the majority of this family, but there's a few good apples in the bunch. And I think the scene in the barn made me enjoy this movie enough alone, as well as kind of the Viking back route, the genetic blah blah. Thought that was really fun. Skull Crusher, his hammer. But yeah, I thought most of the cast actually. I mean, they played good assholes. They're supposed to be rich assholes, so I guess they did a good job. But when they're supposed to be like redeeming people you root for, it doesn't really change from what you saw already.
I can agree with that for the most part, but I do think the it at least the dad character is like the only person that's is a butthole or selfish or whatever does get a little bit of redemption. Everyone else, no. But overall, I agree with Sam. This movie is a fun time at the movies, and just watching this freaking and also you if you enjoyed was it Hopper or Hawkins, Officer Hawkins or whatever his name is from Stranger Things, kind of the same guy. So it's just a lot of fun, a lot of blood, a lot of blood, a lot of gore, which is awesome if you're a horror fan. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
I enjoyed that a lot. With that being said, I think the movie is just a fun time. I would not mind seeing, ooh, because they hint at it a bit about Santa Claus past here. I would not mind seeing that prequel. I would not mind seeing that. I would love to see more about this guy before he was Santa.
Yeah. Yeah, that would definitely be fun. I don't yeah, kind of like his introduction to being Santa Claus. They could definitely do something with that.
I would definitely love to see. what that would do. But yeah, it's fun time, over the top, and it's definitely just an overall time. I talked more in detail about it. I'm just trying to speed through because we have been going for over 3 hours now, so I'm trying to speed through. We only got a few movies left. Um, so let's move on. Before we get to any other ones that are on our list, I forgot about these, and I want to bring these up real quick. Even though they're technically not movies, but I still want us to talk about them. One of them we both seen. One only I've seen. Um, Werewolf by Night.
Ah, yes.
I do want. I know that's technically not a movie, but I want to. I want us to talk about it because it is.
It's a special.
So let's talk about it for a split second. What did you think about Werewolf by Night?
I really liked the direction they went with kind of the uneasiness, especially the human puppet. And it was not what I expected coming out of it. There's enough twists and turns where it was a good experience. I liked watching it.
Me personally, for Werewolf by Night, I enjoyed it. But me personally, it's just like I don't think it's just. I liked it like it's an homage to like old horror movies, like the Universal monster movie era. I really like that attribute of it. And I think there is some fun to be had here, but overall, I just thought it was okay. I didn't love it, but I thought it was fun. But I just thought it was all right. I didn't love it or anything. And the other Marvel,
It's a fun adventure.
and the other Marvel special presentation that came out this year, which I don't think Sam saw, but I know I did.
I have not checked out yet.
The Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. I loved this. It is one of the most funniest things I've probably seen this year. It is definitely Sam. I would very much recommend it. Even if it's not Christmas anymore, give it a watch, man. It's a lot of fun. It's a really funny. There's a joke in here about that I really like about humans. I'm not even gonna give it away. I'm not even gonna give it away. It's too good of a joke.
I've heard nothing but good things about
Oh
it.
yeah, it's really good. It's definitely, you can tell it's done by James Gunn. That's not necessarily a bad thing. All right. That being said, Sam, you've got two movies before my next one, so let's have you talk about those. Pinocchio.
Pinocchio, my last movie of 2022.
That you saw.
I watched it. Yeah, that I saw. Watched it last night, so it's pretty fresh. This movie was actually conceptualized 14 years ago. It was pitched
Real
by
quick
Guillermo del
before you
Toro.
finish, I want to remind everyone that 3 Pinocchio movies came out this year.
Yes, Pinocchio, the true story,
the Disney remake, and this one.
And this one. This is definitely the best one of the bunch. I can't say the true story one because I only saw the trailers and stuff, but I have a hard time believing that would be better than this.
Wait, did you even watch the Disney one?
I saw bits and pieces of it. When I kind of started getting into it, I was like, nah, let's go to the 1940s one. That one is this, but better. It's that similar, unless you really like Tom Hanks. But
I still need to watch all 3 of them.
I don't know if you want to watch the true story of Pinocchio. It's a
Probably
Russian film from a while ago, and it's got Pauly Shore doing the voiceover.
But it's got Tom Kenny too.
Yeah. Oh, funny enough, this Pinocchio also has Tom Kenny in it.
Really?
As well as Ewan McGregor's in it, Kate Blanchett.
All right. So you talk about the movie.
It was quite a journey, I may say. It's a longer movie at about 2 hours long, 210, 220.
Really? For a stop motion film?
So, yeah, I had gotten to the 40, or it was a little bit longer, about the 1 hour, 10-minute mark, and I look at it and it's still got, 50 minutes left.
Dang.
It takes you through a whole journey. Some of the song numbers are kind of weak. That's my biggest issue with the movie. But the plot's great. They did a great job on the movie. It doesn't really follow any of the beats of the Disney one, which they tried hard to avoid, I would guess. But this is an old story. It's from like 1895. They've remade Pinocchio
Yeah,
dozens of
yeah.
times over
Obviously,
the
the
centuries.
Disney one is the most
It's the most
commonly
well known.
known.
Most people would probably tell you that is Pinocchio. Oh, you mean the Disney movie? Disney's
They
Pinocchio?
probably should have named it
Uh,
something else though, besides just naming it straight up Pinocchio.
it's actually titled Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Well, I guess that does differentiate it. All right, let's move on to your next one, which is the mean
The
one.
mean one.
That didn't release
Uh,
theatrically here, or I would have seen it too.
yeah, I got the opportunity to see it at a pretty small potatoes theater. It was a fun movie to watch if you've got some buddies to kind of play off of. Just have a good time with it. The kills sucked. There's a lot of CG blood. The humor is great. This is a classic B movie comedy style horror movie. Parody film.
Well,
Horror
obviously, I
parody
imagine
film.
you're not expecting much from a Grinch horror movie.
It was less than that though. But the comedy saved it. There was some funny writing and some pleasant nods to Dr. Seuss.
All right,
Dr. Seuss.
we've got 2 movies left. And this is one we can both talk about. Or should we save that since we both can talk about it? No, we'll keep with the order. Keep with the order. Release. Gotta be consistent.
What do you got?
My last movie is one I told you I saw the other day.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. We'll end off with that. Avatar: The Way of the Water, a 3-hour nature pick.
Let me start off since you just finished talking about 2 of yours. I'm not gonna be slow with this one because I got quite a bit to say. I'm not gonna go too much. Because I haven't reviewed this yet, so I've been wanting to talk about it. So first off, the first Avatar before I get started, I'm not a big fan of. I thought it was overrated. I did get to see it on a re-release in 3D for the first time before this one came out. So, but I didn't like it that much. I thought it was all right. I thought it was overrated. I thought it was overhyped. I thought it was all right. This one I thought was
Get ready for 2 more
and
sequels.
and this one I thought was much better than the first one. I thought it was a lot more entertaining. I liked the way they take the main guy, his character. I like how they take his what's his name? Jake Sully. That's his or Navi Jake Sully.
Jake
Yeah,
Sully.
yeah, Jake Sully. He the way they took his characters in a good direction. I like his family. Um, one of the kids, like obviously he's got 4 kids, and they're not gonna give them all. I have a feeling they have some plans for some of them more later down the road. The 2 more sequels. Maybe not the youngest one. Maybe they have something planned for her. Maybe I don't know.
The villain.
Make her the villain. Make the little daughter, the villain. But no, I actually enjoyed this a lot more than the first one, and I thought it's even. I think this one's beautiful with even more beautiful than the first one because of the
That is
water.
the best part of this movie.
The water, the 3D is obviously great. I think the movie was a lot of fun fight scenes because like the water setting definitely. I find it funny how we
Really,
had
really
2
cool.
movies this year about water tribes.
What was the other one?
Like Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever.
I thought, and also released both by the same company.
You know what people like.
This is I was like one of those battles that was going on at one point. I was like, "Huh, this looks familiar." The movie overall, I thought was a great time. I liked the chemistry. One thing I did not like, them bringing the villain back from the first movie. Sorry for spoilers. I
Yeah.
really should not be.
Well,
This still recently came out.
I mean, that's right off the bat. We're talking like the first 15
Yeah,
minutes.
I didn't like that. Sorry for spoilers on that.
That's the entire plot line.
I do like that they have this human that's like he's basically a Navi, but he's not a human.
Spider.
Yeah, spy. He's basically one of them, but he's not one of them. Like he's one of them, like by choosing, but he's not like actually. He's a human. You know what I mean. And I
Yeah.
liked his character. That's an interesting thing they threw in there. Am I the only one that like a lot of the movie? I was scared of his mask like getting loose or something or breaking. Like I was legit terrified of that throughout.
Yeah, in a lot of situations, there was no air bubbles he could get to, and he only has like a minute of air after that thing goes out.
Yeah, I was like super concerned at moments, especially like when there was like time when he was like thrown up against walls and stuff like that. I'm like, why isn't that broken? But no, the movie is
That gave
great. I
Cody at the
enjoyed it.
end.
It's long. Don't get me wrong. It's 3 hours long. Really like 3 hours and
Yes,
12 minutes long.
I felt it.
Me personally, I didn't feel it because I was just too busy. I was too engulfed in the movie and enjoying it. I think this is a, and actually, this did make me want to go see the thing at the park at Disney. That the thing at the park.
Ah, that would be
It
cool.
did make me want.
Pandora.
It did make me want to see that. And it did make me actually say I do like this franchise now. Like I always said about the first one, thought it was overrated. But then to see this one actually, I think is much better than the first one, and I'm probably not in the majority
Yeah,
in
I
saying that.
disagree with you on that one.
I imagine a lot of people will probably disagree with me on that. But yeah, Sam, your thoughts?
Well, yeah, it was a pretty long movie. Uh, with the regards to the 3D, probably my favorite stuff was when we saw just the sheer nature of like the different aquatic life underwater. That made for some great 3D. Having floating objects be able to pass by and it be pretty believable. But it's pretty simple to achieve. I'm easily pleased when it comes to 3D when they advertise it as a 3D movie. They did tread a lot of old ground of the first one. This wasn't breaking any barriers, I guess, for new plots. New setting, same old, gotta relearn the ways.
Gotta learn the way of water.
The way of yeah. I gotta learn the way of the water. Uh, it was a little weird that Sigourney Weaver, despite being like 70 something, playing a 16-year-old,
Okay,
it worked.
like I
It was
said, I
believable.
barely noticed it. Actually,
It was definitely
I
something.
didn't notice it actually at all until you pointed it out.
She actually requested James Cameron reinvent her character, actually. I don't remember why, but yeah, that's the reason why she's a new character, not the old one. Uh, the ending, I don't know. You want to go into spoilers on this one? There's not like a huge ending to
I
it.
feel like this one though is it's still too fresh.
It's a slog. If you like looking at pretty things,
Like I'm saying, if you love
this
that,
one is full of it.
like if you love this franchise, is all I'll say about the ending. If you love this franchise, bring some tissues. If you love this franchise, I don't love this franchise, so I didn't need them. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I'm not a lover of this one either.
So I'd
I didn't
say,
think it was good. Not as good as the
but I
first
say
one.
if you're a love of this, like you love this franchise, bring some tissues. You're probably gonna need them.
Jake Sully gets sexy at the end.
Oh no. And the last movie, I literally saw this yesterday. which was Puss in Boots. Oh, real quick before I do that, when I went and saw Avatar, they showed the Mario trailer in front of it, and I got to see that in 3D, like the trailer in 3D.
Ooh.
So I hope that, and that looks so good with 3D. So I hope that movie releases in 3D. I really do. Sorry, that's a little tangent. And also, speaking of 3D, actually fits in with this guy. I also saw Puss in Boots in 3D. I think they're trying to bring 3D back again. Because literally every Marvel movie this year has been released in 3D. At least here they have been. And so was Puss in Boots. So I'm hoping they're trying to bring it back. Because I used to love going to 3D movies. It kind of died out for a while. But I think they're trying to, because clearly there is a market for it. Anyway, let's talk about Puss in Boots itself. Sam hasn't seen this one, only I have. I will straight up say this is my favorite movie of the year. I will, hands down, my favorite movie of the year. And by the way, if I'm gonna do a top 12 of my movies later, pretend you didn't hear me say that. That kind of spoil the top 12.
Wah, wah.
But anyway, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. This movie, I'm gonna start with the animation. This movie is beautifully animated. Like this movie, it definitely takes some cues from Spider-Verse. Definitely. But I do think it does a lot with this new visual style. And it
Wait, did they go to the multiverse?
What? No, I'm talking about the animation.
Oh. So we don't get multiple Puss in Boots?
No, it's not Puss into the boot verse or something. But no,
I don't want to go there.
It probably smells like fish. This movie is beautifully animated. I think. See, what I was actually like, okay, so they're just using the same style they did for the bad guys. I actually looked at some of the trailers for the bad guys before I went and saw this. No, it's different. I thought it was like exactly the same style. But no, it's not. I thought it was exactly the same, but it definitely is not.
It looks good. I saw a little bit of
It
it.
is very beautifully animated. And in seeing this in 3D, if your theater is showing this in 3D, I recommend going to see it in 3D because it is beautiful. There's so much beautiful landscapes in this movie. It's insane. And it was also just good to revisit this character. Like that just felt, we haven't seen this character in over 10 years, which is insane to even think about. And it's really cool. And those of you that hoping for a Shrek appearance, kinda. You don't hear
I don't know.
that kinda. There's kind of one. It's literally
For
just
what?
appearance, quote unquote appearance of Shrek, but he's not actually there. It's just like Puss's life flashing before his eyes, kind of thing.
Oh,
But like, it's new animation though.
yeah.
It's new animation. It's not like recycled from. I wish I could have paused it and see what it looked like, you know. But I was just in the theater, can't do that. I was like, it's like a shot of Donkey, Shrek, and Puss walking. But they definitely, I will say this, and this is, I wouldn't really call this, they're definitely setting up to bring Shrek back. Just because how this movie ends, I won't say anything about that, but definitely setting up bringing Shrek back. And the movie it's funny. This movie's really freaking funny. It is really funny. There's one line that I laughed my butt off at, and I think I was the only one in the theater that laughed at it. But it was just really funny. This movie has a lot of heart, and it's dark. For this movie, it is dark. Like there's this wolf character, which you've probably seen in the trailers. That thing's gonna scare some kids. Some little kids, that is gonna scare some kids. I legit think so. Because it is actually I remember like one point where he shows up in the movie and it makes the hair on my neck stand up. I was like, whoa, okay. Again, it was like, I'm serious.
Yeah, sure.
It actually is. It's
Definitely.
they really do really good job with the tension with that character. And like, obviously, I thought like the Goldilocks and the Three Bears. That you see that in the trailer, which also brings a question. This takes place in the Shrek universe. Mama Bear's supposed to be dead. Am I wrong?
Did she die in the original?
Remembers freaking Farquaad had her as a bearskin rug in the first Shrek movie.
That's a plot hole.
It is. But we can just go out on a limb and say Papa Bear remarried. There you go. You're gonna say Papa Bear.
Yeah, it's a different Mama Bear.
Yeah, it's not this. He remarried. We can just say that. I'm just saying that. The movie doesn't say that. I'm just saying that. That's my headcanon. But no, the movie though, having Goldilocks and the Three Bears in there, I thought was just gonna be like another character. Like they're just gonna be there and it's not gonna be that big a deal. Like they're just like a side thing. No, they're in the movie a lot, and there's not any character in this movie where I feel like if they cut away from Puss, I'm not being entertained. I'm entertained this whole way through. Like I think this movie at one point the movie very much parallels the first Shrek movie because there's this little dog you've probably seen in the trailers where he's with Puss and like Puss is kind of annoyed with him and everything. It's kind of a parallel to Shrek and Donkey. I could not make that comparison. That was like that kept coming to my mind when I saw that, and overall, it's just an amazing. No, I'll use the word amazing. I will use the word amazing. I think it is probably my third favorite film in this franchise. Maybe I don't know. I'm not gonna say it's my favorite DreamWorks movie because that would be recency bias. um, but it is definitely my movie of the year, and that is it. That is every movie we went through. What we both saw in 2022. Obviously, we'll do this again in the future with the. And if you guys ever wanted to see us talk about any movies in the future, like just like in a different way, like maybe talking about every movie in a franchise or something like that, let us know down in the comments. And we did this. Wait, I just realized why this felt longer than it did last time. We did this as a live stream last year.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even. I just.
How long was that one?
I don't remember. But I think
it was a decent chunk of time.
I don't know if it was this long though. It's almost 4 hours. But yes.
Well, with COVID, more movies coming out.
Yeah.
Actually,
a lot of these weren't movies that were pushed back. I don't think, at least the ones that we saw.
Even if they weren't pushed back, it's like not a lot of movies were releasing that year.
There was
theatrically is a big blow to budgets.
But definitely this year was a big year for movies. We had but next year, next year, and obviously not everything's been announced yet. We don't know everything that's coming next year. We need to know some
Indiana
stuff.
Jones and Super Mario. Those are my two anticipated movies of the year.
My two are definitely Mario and Spider-Verse. Oh, and hopefully the FNAF movie comes out next year. Hopefully. Fingers crossed for that. Fingers crossed for that.
Big dream.
I hope. It starts filming in February, so that could work for an October release.
A Halloween release would be good. But it depends if they have any competition for October.
I know.
And if they could definitely win out the competition.
Oh, yeah, definitely. FNAF is a huge brand. They also confirmed that it's going to be R. I'm surprised.
Whoa,
I thought it was going to just.
Right on.
I thought it was just going to be PG-13 because a lot of the fan base
Yeah,
is younger. Anyway,
I'm actually psyched
yeah, me too.
for that.
Gory FNAF, me too. Maybe I'll make a video talking about
That
that. My
amp it up.
expectations on those movies and we should do that. We should do a video on our most anticipated movies of 2023. We should do that.
2023, kick it off in the new year.
Yep. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys, this was fun. I like doing this kind of stuff. It's
I
just
like talking
uh,
about
just
movies, as always.
these sit down and talk videos. Um, we probably should have done it as a live stream like we did last year. I didn't think about that, but it's a video. Probably would have got more views if we did it live, but eh.
Yeah.
But definitely something that I love doing. I look forward to that. Ever since we did it last year, I was looking forward to it this year. I remember actually asking Sam about like 6 months ago. I was like, "We're gonna do that again this year, right?" And it's like Sam's like, "Yeah, definitely." And it's definitely something that I was super duper excited about. But that's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed seeing Sam again, because neither me or you are gonna see him for a while.
Going back into hiding, back into my hole.
But we will see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Peace out.